Oh my god, I'm literally like explaining why I'm so wound up right now and I haven't even unmuted the mic. Jesus Christ. Okay, well, at least I know to start it right from there in the VOD. Um, hello everyone, welcome to the stream. It's lovely to see you all. I've been a little bit wound up. I got a little bit more wound up when I couldn't post my Tumblr post. I, uh, I have been humbled by my muted microphone. Welcome to the stream, Valerie the Lovely Italian, Valerie Valkyrie, Vulpix989. We've got the triple V starting out strong. It's pretty good stuff. Gay Potato 1312, Jenny Azoth, welcome to the stream. Hello and welcome to Link Retro, to Artist Synth, Princess Beck Knight 666. Always lovely to have you here. Middle Earth Marxist, welcome in. Lovely to have you here. Million Peaches, hello. B-Rat and Zyros and Row the Fair Thing Lion, welcome to the stream. Morrigan the Fae, hello and welcome. It's lovely to have you here. Oh my goodness, I'm having a bit of a one today. I've been having like such a chill day as well. I've genuinely been having like such an easy, chill time, and it's just like as soon as work started, everything became utter dog shit. Like, oh my god. So I was running a bit late. Everything was like I was feeling a bit wound up. My camera did this thing. It keeps on resetting the white balance. Like I think, here I look relatively normal. I basically look how I look in real life. The other day when I did a bonus stream, I think I had the white balance set completely wrong. I was a bit too like pink all over. That's because it keeps on resetting to auto instead of the setting I set it on. And the auto one is like, it looks like a fucking crime drama. Like it's all blue and washed out in here. It's like bluey green. It's a it's a bad time basically. Anyway, that was making me a bit stressed out. I tried to promote the stream as I usually do across different social media networks and Tumblr, rather than saying we have failed, our service has failed, and we've let you, a service user, down by failing. Said, oh, it's all fucky wucky. Oh no, it quunkled and it fubbled. And it's just like, if don't put that in your website. Like, if your if your users are feeling fine and the service fails and that happens, they might be like, haha, that's kind of funny. Um, if you're already stressed out and you're like trying to promote your job that you do for a job, and it says, "Ooh, it flubbed," like, ah! Anyway, I hope everyone is having a lovely day. In general, I'm having a lovely day. I'm just a bit stressed right now. Um, Speaking of this being my job, I'll get this in early. We are trying to raise a larger amount of money this month than usual because the start of next month is my birthday, and I really want to book a birthday trip because it's my 30th birthday to New Zealand, where I was born. So I'm trying to raise a bit of extra money towards that. If you enjoy the stream, if you're a regular viewer, if you're not a regular viewer but you've stumbled across this and you're having a nice time, please consider paying for the stream. You can subscribe or cheer or donate directly using command TIP. That's !TIP. If we hit 320 by the end of the stream, that's £200 from where we're currently at, we will add an extra bonus stream onto next month. Gay Potato says, glad to hear that your day was good at least. Honestly, I'm having a lovely time. Ro, thank you so much for the £2 donation. I really appreciate that. Tithe for triggering the mods with Tumblr speak right off the bat. I saw that. Yes, I do have uwu as an auto-held word in my chat. For probably a pretty easily discernible reason, right? I find it quite annoying, and it's if I find it bad enough to want my chat to not be saying it. think about how I feel when I'm trying to promote my stream and the website is saying it to me. The website that bans trans women for posting selfies because they think they're being sexually explicit when they're fully clothed, and then is now asking for government ID. Like, horrible website. Morgan the Fae, thank you so much for the £6.66 donation, which is a spooky number, and the and the message pudding. What did she mean by that? We may never know. We've got a lot to get through today on the stream. It's going to be a good stream. I'm looking forward to it. I'm just going to quickly run you through it all. A patron of mine called Doot the Skeleton has sent in a submission, not of liberal slop, to be clear, but of their own writing, and we're going to have a little read of it, because I think it's a cute little theory piece that communicates things well, and I definitely want to encourage the class to be writing things and to be engaging with critical theory. I think that is an overall a good. It's a good in the world, right? So I'm going to be looking at that. We're going to also be reading another Substack article by yours truly, because I wrote a little bit about the Renters' Rights Act and the local organising I've been doing on my estate that I've been telling you about the last few weeks here on the stream. We're going to read some comments as usual, and then we're going to hop right into the slop. So, several people, more than one, more than two, several people have sent me a Kurzgesagt video, and some people have told me a bit about it in sending it to me, so I have a pretty good idea of what's going on. Gay Potato 1312, thank you so much for the £3 donation, no message. I have a pretty good idea what's going on in the video, but I haven't watched it. I don't usually preserve my reaction to do a reaction stream thing here, but I have actually not seen this video or read either of the things that we'll read, or either of the slop articles that we'll read today, because I just thought it would be kind of fun to just these ones in particular seemed like it's obvious what they're going to be doing overall, and we would have more fun finding out together this time. The two slop articles we've got coming up are going to be, it's formatted very strangely, but it's the New York Times' interview with Tucker Carlson, and just so that you know, it's this long, so I don't think we're going to be reading all of it, but I thought that would be a bit of an entertaining time. And we have an amazing, amazing take from Jonathan Chait. Jonathan Chait is back yet again with just dog shit. Just complete dog shit, really. Just filth. Just filth. So, that's the stream we've got coming up today. Am I going to dive in? Is there anything else? I've had a pretty nice week. I've been getting through my writing about Ezra Klein. I think I'm just a couple more focused days of writing away from finishing it. Then I'm going to finish up my Monster Man script, and then I'm going to film 3 videos in a row so that I got them all in the vault ready to release. I'm looking forward to it a lot. Things generally are going well. I actually, my main complaint right now is with my body, because I got a trapped nerve earlier in the week, which was absolutely horrible. Yeah. But, I was writing in my journal, and I was kind of making a point that, this is the main thing that's wrong right now. There's some stuff that's, ongoing and tricky, but most things are taking, a big kind of general upward turn at the moment, and I'm feeling quite good. Yeah. I think there's generally a sort of I've been talking about this for a bit, but a cultural shift of people realizing that the ways that people in the queer community and the left lack conflict resolution skills is a serious problem. And now I am seeing more people earnestly attempting to resolve conflicts, which is really nice, because it's something I've been promoting for a little while. Yeah, I'm feeling good about stuff. I'm feeling quite good, and I hope you're all feeling good too. And VOD viewers, haven't forgotten about you. Hello, VOD viewers. It's lovely to have you here. If you are watching this on the VOD channel, And if you regularly watch my VODs, please consider paying for the VODs, because I'm doing work right now, I'm producing content, and even though you're watching the archive of a stream, that doesn't mean it's just like not work for me, it's still work for me. So please consider checking out the link below, and especially subscribing to my Patreon, because that's my main source of income. Row the fair thing line saying Kurzgesagt. They have the same curse as all the liberals. VOD viewers, we're going to read some of your comments next. I'm looking forward to chatting about them. Hello, Morgana. It's lovely to have you here. I'm looking forward to reading the VOD viewers' comments. I got some good comments to read this week. But yeah, VOD viewers, if you enjoy the VOD, please consider paying for the VOD. And chatters, if you're enjoying the stream, please consider paying for the stream. There are 30 people watching now. So remember, small donos still make a big difference, because if everyone watching donated £4, which I'm honestly pretty sure everyone watching has £4 they could donate right now, we would get past the... I'm completely miscalculating. I imagined it was 120 per second. No. If everyone watching donated, what, £6.50? Yeah. Which you may or may not have to spare, then we would get right past the goal for the stream, and I wouldn't have to do any more plugs for doing command tip. That's !TIP. I'll put it in chat for you right now. It's !TIP. There you go. So remember that small donors still make a big difference. Okay, let's get into some comments. Because last time, if people remember... Well, if you don't, I guess, because I'm going to summarize it now. We were watching Ezra Klein's podcast episode where he tried to make a sort of acceptable way for liberal Zionists to accept that Israel is doing bad stuff at all. Which, like, you would think... relatively easy for people to just like accept that, and yet we've seen how the liberal Zionists have been the last couple of years, and so they need some kind of off ramp into there, and nonetheless it was very, very frustrating. So, pardon me. Here we've got Lisbeth Naney says, I'm often struck by the rhetorical power of separating political violence from the violence of political policies. I think this was actually after we read the previous Jonathan Chait take, calling Trump a tyrant is not calling for violence. Political violence is never justified. That's capitalized to let us know it's a line, it's a slogan. Hello, Of-On. Lovely to have you here. It's really nice to see you in the stream chat. Related was hanging out with the main organizer of that one march I'm involved with. We had a nice convo about organizing with people you don't get along with, which gives me hope this will get off on the right foot. That's really, really nice. I'm really glad to hear that. Okay. Political violence is never justified. As a line there, an idea. But political policies that routinely and predictably result in mass death, brackets mass deportations, austerity, ripping up military rules of engagement, so you can blow up as many civilians as you like, are just a matter of opinion, that it's barely acceptable to be rude about. I suspect it produces a lot of cognitive dissonance in professional commentators, against which the mantra "political violence is never justified" provides some relief. Yeah, I thought this was a great comment. I don't massively have notes about this one. I think that it is. I think we already saw this, right, with Charlie Kirk was doing politics the right way from Ezra Klein, a sort of pearl-clutching, staunch opposition to political violence from the commentariat is one of the clearest moments where they recognize whose side they're really on. Like, even if they nominally are, advocating progressive ideals a lot of the time and trying to make society better by saying, we should have this policy or this policy, when someone comes out and says, okay, but the guy on the other side of the aisle, is a fascist and I'm going to shoot him because he's, trying to get people like me killed or whatever, if this happens, then or people I care about, or he's doing all this horrible stuff, like then the whole journalist class becomes so like, no, you can't do any political violence, no, it's terrible, and it just really like immediately shows what's up, I think. And I want to read another comment from Liz Naney here, because I just really specifically like this phrase, Ezra's odd fan dance, which I think is like I think, like, from the previous comment, that this thing about, like, cognitive dissonance, I think it is mostly cognitive dissonance. It's just very, like, it's very bizarre that in his cognitive dissonance and his, like, dissociated approach to politics and life in the world, like, he ends up doing such incredible sleight of hand. Like, it feels like it... Sometimes it feels like it could only be done very deliberately and with a lot of forethought. But the longer you watch the guy, the more it's like, no, I think you genuinely just have a very, like, difficult time reconciling what you find to be moral and what's, like, going on around you, and the things you feel able to say from your position, you know? Ryan Phillips 7064 says, this one was the one I wanted to send. Okay. Nearly at the end, and I will say, I'm still frustrated with Ezra. He's made baby steps in some directions, and I do believe that we have a space for people who, well, better late than never, but he still fails to consider a timeline that starts before Oslo. For whatever reason, I've been thinking about tension and catharsis lately, and I'm starting to feel like a lot of liberal slop is all building tension with no catharsis. There are lazy doms who get distracted 4 hours into an edging session. 4 hours into an edging session isn't lazy. That's not... Anyway, they are lazy doms who get distracted 4 hours into an edging session and just wander off, never telling you how it's supposed to end. They aren't willing to say, not today, try your luck tomorrow, but they're also never actually going to let you bust. Some real, they know that it is nothing, and so they barely bother to do it ass bullshit. Anyway, I hope you've all had a chuckle at me reframing Sophie's wordplay about Marx's definition of ideology into a cum joke. Thank you, Ryan. I thought that was a fun comment. However, 4 hours into an edging session is... you better be being paid well. So, last comment from the Anarchist Cook, because if people... So last stream we were talking... I was also responding to a comment where the Anarchist Cook said, I'd like your take on the USSR. Briefly, my take was there's lots of good stuff the USSR did, and if we're talking about foreign intervention, they did a lot of foreign intervention that was propping up Marxist-Leninist socialist revolutions. And within their society, they did a lot of cool stuff too that was, you know, good because it was socialist. Here, the Anarchist Cook has said, that's definitely a fair point about the USSR's support of movements elsewhere in the world. I think there are some imperialist motivations there, but I'm also glad the US wasn't completely unchecked. What I want to push back on is the idea that credit should not be given for some of the positive points of life in the Soviet Union. Giving people homes is absolutely better than not, but that's also true of Nordic model healthcare programs or an interstate highway system or even a national postal service. So I need to hold up on this comment for this part of the comment for a second, because Nordic model gets used a lot in discussing sex work, and I feel like there's a bit of a confused thing going on there. I haven't heard it applied to anything that Scandinavian countries are doing for housing, but maybe I just haven't heard that. I don't think it could be said the same, but then again, if a social democracy does give people housing, I just do think that's a benefit and is a success of state socialism. Like, I also ultimately want the state to not exist, but I think that, like, one of the greatest challenges for my anarchism is, like, for example, medicine or housing, food, like a whole bunch of stuff that is, like, does work best and most efficiently with really large scale systems, as well as sustainably. And so, like, all these things point to benefits of the state existing, where I know that the state is something that is wrong, like is something that produces like evils. Sorry, I'll finish reading the anarchist cook comment because I think that it's fair to hear them out first, and I'm kind of laying a bunch of criticisms on. There are absolutely babies that shouldn't be thrown out with the bathwater no matter where we are, but I think it's the double standard to look at the USSR especially as an example of how to do things just because socialist is in the name. I'm not an anarchist because I think it's the best way to do communism. I'm an anarchist because I think there is no communism without anarchy and vice versa. Like, respectfully, the anarchist cook, I think you are grandstanding a little bit here. Like, repeatedly in this, I am trying to say, like, I think there are some positives that have happened with this thing. And while you are saying that you do agree with it, then it comes back around to this sort of like, but they're like not the real deal. They're not doing the real thing. And I'm just like, they did good stuff. And like, we can, disagree perhaps about how much the bad things that they did mar the good things that they did. But something I find quite often, like when I'm discussing the USSR online, is that to me, China feels like it's a looming part of this conversation. Like, I think that there's lots to learn from Lenin and the Bolsheviks, and more to learn from like other sources around them because their own account of the revolution was very biased. But I think there's more to learn from Mao in China. There's more to learn from Uncle Ho in Vietnam. There's more to learn in Cuba. I think that like there is often a discourse that takes the same shape where I say that like I am an anarchist, but I just think that we can learn from some state socialist revolutions, like their revolutionary strategy, like reveals a lot about how we can make society more equitable, and applying some of their tools and ideas and reading their theory is helpful to us. And like that's basically the whole of where I'm at. Like, I organize tons with people who call themselves Marxist-Leninists. They aren't like, I'm not in a Marxist-Leninist party, so like I'm not, like I am not doing Marxism-Leninism with them, and they aren't doing anarchism with me. And I don't really seek to, like, prove that it's one or the other, or, like, play that kind of tug of war, if you know what I mean. Because I ultimately just think that, like, yeah, the different approaches are different and, like, useful in different situations, and every dialectical materialist has felt that, has said the same when you read their theory about stuff. In my video, this will be a bit confusing because I've got the Mars trilogy video now, but I've got a video called Communism on Mars, where I talk about being, Sophie from Mars. I talk about the planet Mars that I'm from, and what society is like there. And one thing I highlight there is that, like, there is a massive overlap of big systems and small systems. And to me, like, this reflects what's going on a lot of the time in discourses where, like, anarchists would like to feed everyone in the neighborhood by, like, having a permaculture, like, shared community garden or whatever. And it's like, it's not so much about the feasibility of that. It's that, like, yeah, like, communities should have their own food sovereignty, and there should be an irreducible minimum so that people don't ever, like, crash out and fucking starve, right? Like, there should be a big system delivering people food, and there should be little systems so that people can have, like, independence from the big system as much as they need to. An overlap of big systems and small systems is good. Princess Back Knight 666 says, I often think of this in terms of how we define a state. We absolutely need some elements of central planning, but a state is a governmental body with a monopoly on violence within a certain territory. If a governing system has no ability to inflict a monopoly on violence, it's not a state, IMO, which allows space for central planning without conflicting with my anarchism. Million Peaches says, when the alternative is the imperialism of the United States, it's hard to see there being a strong argument that the bad outweighs the good IMO. Also, yeah, China and Vietnam are great examples. Um, yeah, Row the Fair Thing Line says, did a quick search, and the Nordic/Norwegian housing model is a specific type of granting personal home ownership. Need to read more, though. Okay, fair enough. Hello, Hoodie fan. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, I like... My point about the discourse always coming back around to the USSR is it feels just very like McCarthyism driven. Like it feels like we have to deal with this like devil of the USSR, and I'm just like, okay, but if you would be okay with this conversation just like ignoring the USSR altogether, like just neither of us are going to talk about the USSR anymore. We could maybe like find common ground quicker talking about other groups of people who like applied still like Marxist Leninist and state socialist vanguard party or military revolution or whatever, like theories of revolutionary socialist change, and the same points I would make would apply. So sometimes it just feels like the USSR is like just especially loaded. Regarding this thing about like if a social democracy did good things, if a social democracy does good things, good, then that's a win. Like I care about people having the stuff that they need, and like we are in. It's hard to communicate just how dire the situation that we are in currently is in terms of what a fucking shambles the left and the imperial core is, and so like. Trying to ask for a relatively extreme ideological purity, I don't think is necessarily the one. But anyway, like I said, I don't want to heap criticism on this comment. I'm just trying to like respond to it and, you know, engage with the conversation around it. So, like, I think that there is a ton to learn from the revolutionary history of the USSR, of China, of Vietnam, Cuba, a bunch of African nations, and I don't like when people tell me that the USSR didn't have real communism or whatever, I don't really know what to do with that, because I think that like one necessary thing about communism is that we abolish nations and borders. So like, no, I also don't think that any like single state is going to have like real communism per se, but I do think that states can do significantly better or worse, and kind of it gets a little bit chronically online if we can't admit that like some states are doing better and some states are doing worse, and some are treating their people better and their marginalized people better, or their workers better, or there's different like levels of inequality or health outcomes or all sorts of things like this. Also, as Million Peaches said in chat, compared to the imperialism of the US, like I'd say Blowback Pod is very worth listening to. They have like various different parts, but the thing that's coming up for me right now is talking about Afghanistan and the way that like the Soviets in Afghanistan were like their hand was forced in terms of interventionism, and I think that's like an important context a lot of the time with Soviet interventionism. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about this for the whole stream. I do think it's an interesting discussion. Valerie the Lovely Italian says, 100%, a lot of social democracies were enabled to do more good things by the USSR also. Yeah, absolutely. I just think like, it's not very... What am I trying to say here? We all have different roles in the revolution, and if yours is nothing to do with like if a vanguard party exists in your context and it's like existing as a hub of organizing, and it is causing a bunch of problems in your context because of the ways that it's centralizing power, and you think it's a harm to the movement, then your role can be to exist as a foil to that and exist in a counter space where like organizing that doesn't revolve around the vanguard party can happen, and it won't necessarily like seriously harm or hobble their movement. You can just give them, you can just be in your own space. I think that it's like, I think it's beyond like a little possible for us to just do different things and work together on the things we want to work together on. And as I say, I organize with plenty of Marxist-Leninists and not in any in any Marxist-Leninist spaces. So, why am I getting tagged? What's happening? Oh, fucking Christ. Mules just sent me the Southwark Council results. Oh, shit. Oh, that's crazy. We got a bunch of Green councillors now. My goodness. My goodness, the woke Greens. We've got, and this is what the polling was actually saying, we've got no clear majority. So, like, no one is actually in charge of the council anymore. I think it's going to be worth my while reaching out to the Greens about what's going on in the... And they're woke? Yeah, that's right. That's right, Willow. They're woke. My goodness. Okay. I started quite late. I should try and like keep a pace getting through stuff. Chat. We've now done the VOD comments. VOD viewers, thank you for your lovely comments. Anarchist Cook, I hope we're not beefing, because I genuinely am just trying to like engage with this topic. We're going to look at a little article that was sent to me by patron Doot the Skeleton about the law. I think it's an interesting little article. Chat, if you're enjoying the stream, I am working right now, and I only get paid for my work when kind people on the internet decide to pay me for my work. So please, if you're enjoying the stream, consider paying for the stream. You can subscribe, which would give you emotes that you can use all over Twitch, including some using my own astrophotography. You can cheer, or you can donate directly using command tip. On this stream today, I would really love to hit 320 if we possibly can. So please, please use that tip command. Okay, let's go read this little piece, because I would like to encourage the class to consider doing some writing, engaging with theory. 999, what's your emergency? Someone's trying to kill me. They can't do that. It's illegal. Here's my advice quickly. Use the meme you're referencing. Anyway, I love that meme. Be it as far-reaching as the President of the USA cancelling elections, or as local as the rules around social support services at a UK council level, many people seem to be unable to separate laws of the land from the laws of physics. I've made this mistake myself, and it took effort to make the switch away from this mindset. Why? Who benefits? And what do we do about it? Conflation. Laws aren't natural. Now, this is Doot the Skeleton's opinion, of course. On Red Planet, we are all very clear that the law is the arbiter of morality, and to do things that are against the law, just purely wrong. Even the laws of physics are written interpretations of how the universe works, often to a more complex degree than our monkey brains evolved to deal with. It stands to reason that in our subconscious, rules are rules, and all rules are the same. This applies more heavily when rules are abstract from us. It's not immediately obvious how we fall back down after we jump, but it happens. We are told it, we see it happen, and we experience it ourselves. Laws of the land can be the same, especially when the enforcement wouldn't apply to us. We are told councils provide people with housing when they need it. We see people live in council houses. We may even have gone through the process of getting one ourselves, but few of us have been the ones getting them for others. If you've never known someone who has been failed by that system, seen the stress and distress they undergo as they're told just one more day for the 20th day in a row while they and their toddler are sleeping on the street, then the idea anyone would be failed by that system doesn't really occur. This is especially the case if you don't have to worry about what happens to you if you fail someone. Of course, if someone jumped and didn't come back down, that would be a big news story. Everyone would know about it before the end of the day. This can happen when laws are broken too, of course. If someone is murdered, that often makes the news. Even if you've never personally known a murder victim, or indeed a murderer, you've undoubtedly seen and heard many stories of murder happening. This is seldom the case when laws that govern systems are broken. You likely don't hear much about people dying on the street waiting for a council house, or losing their access to voting. And while we've seen an increase in recent years about reporting on state violence, it still gets heavily underrepresented in news coverage. And so, if you don't experience much or any cases of these systems working differently to the law, and don't hear about it happening, the default assumption is the same as gravity. It always works. Distinction. Valerie, please don't talk in my chat about me being mean to you in a sexual context. It makes me really uncomfortable. Distinction. The difference then is consequences. If you try to jump from Earth, gravity pulls you back down. The consequence is immediate, automatic, and indiscriminate. There is no way to get away with it. Gravity always acts. Gravity doesn't care who you are and how much money you have, nor does it care for proper procedure, needing a checklist to go through. There is no appeal, there is no resistance. A prolonged use of force can lift an object beyond the crippling restrictions of Earth's gravity. Use enough, and you can escape its influence altogether. Human laws, on the other hand, require humans to enforce them. The consequences can never be immediate nor universal, even with a justice system free of all bias and corruption. Further, a system free of bias and corruption is, if not technically, functionally impossible. People carry innate bias, no matter how hard one tries to unpick it, and people will always be needed to administer the laws of the land, no matter what they are, or who sets them. Regardless, today, no matter which country you live in, we have a substantially imperfect justice system. Not only are consequences disproportionately placed on those who have less, be it wealth, power, or privilege, but the type of law violated also affects the level of enforcement. To some extent, this is reasonable. It seems only right to prioritize limited resources toward murder rather than littering. However, when it comes to other things, it comes down more to who has the means to violate the law. Anyone can commit murder. Only those with power can deny housing to a homeless teen kicked out for being gay. Impact. So what's the point here? Everyone knows the difference when they stop and think about it. Everyone has seen litter get out of hand at some point. We all understand that laws aren't concrete. Intellectually, yes, everyone gets it, but not emotionally, and that affects how people act far more. Litter is something everyone has experience with, so while it may be a law on paper, it isn't a real rule in your mind. It's more of a social practice. But what you likely don't have experience with is people who legally should get council housing be denied it. If you've never known anyone who needed it, or those you have got it, I'm not pausing that properly, sorry. It becomes much easier to think of the process like a law of physics. Someone jumps, applies to council housing, pulled back down, receives council housing. It's a pervasive thought made all the stronger by wanting it to be true. But it isn't true. If the state won't enforce the legal obligation and the people believe it can't be ignored, then there is no consequence. The law effectively stops being a law and becomes a social practice. Like most social practices, it only gets followed when there is someone else around who'll care. This leaves the most vulnerable at the mercy of the system, and then people die. This can apply further. Beyond government structures refusing to meet their obligations, they can directly break their own rules. There may well be no system within the law that allows for an elected leader to cancel elections, but there are plenty of brutish, armed actors who will follow their orders, even if those orders are illegal. If the leader of a country decides the next election isn't going to happen, and the people who are supposed to stop them doing that take their side, then what? What's the consequence? What's the resistance? What will be the prolonged use of force that stops this new rule? If people don't believe it's possible for a law like those to be broken, how will they be ready when it is? What can we do? The first step to a more free society is to free ourselves and those around us from the various imaginative prisons that have been built for us. Great line, really good line. Well done, dude. Everyone clap for Duke. Great line. Good writing. Of which this is only one. The best way to do so, in my view, is an abundance of experience. The more you see a law broken, the more you start to move it from a can't to a not allowed, or from a must to an obligated to or appropriate. Any one case alone won't do it, but a dozen, 100, 1,000, that will smash the cage to pieces. However, this isn't always possible, and can be a rather hard sell to the less politically engaged people in your life. I, likely you too, don't have easy access to an abundance of unlawfully cancelled elections. So, Tactic 2 is a rhetorical exercise. Whether you think, say, or hear said can't or must, correct it, out loud, to a not allowed or obligated to. It won't come naturally. You'll have to talk others through it. You'll miss some, but gradually you'll start to notice the change. It will get easier to spot. It will get easier to explain. Once you've been annoying enough about it, you'll start to find even your least politically engaged friends start to correct themselves, at least while you're around. The way we talk about things affects the way we think about them. The way we think about things affects what we do about them. These prisons for our imaginations are built by those who don't want us thinking of a better world, one in which they have a little less and we have a little more. First, we must break the mental cages. Then we break the societal ones. So I thought that was really lovely. This is by Doot T. Skeleton. That's dootskeleton.substack.com, and I will link it in chat, so you should all go give it a like and subscribe if you enjoyed that piece. That was by a long-term fan and supporter of Sophie from Mars, Doot the Skeleton. Yeah, I think it's nice when people who have been enjoying my work do some writing of their own, and I was sent this and thought I'd, read it out for you. Any thoughts, chat on this article by Doot? Treebard, welcome to the stream. Lovely to have you here. Hi, Sophie. Hope you're having a good and legal week. Well, the thing about society is that it costs money to be alive. And obviously I'm not going to do anything illegal like steal to be able to eat food. But I wouldn't like to be confronted by that moral conundrum. So, chat, if you're enjoying the stream, please consider paying for the stream. You can subscribe or cheer or donate directly using Command Tip, and that will make it so that I have money to buy myself food and then don't have to have any moral exercises confront me. I like the focus in this piece about council housing, because I think it is very true that like a lot of people treat this as a very abstract discourse, while people are allegedly housed by their council very often, and super often not housed by their councils. Something that we teach in Woke School, the module about homelessness, actually, we talk about the ways that councils will declare people intentionally homeless, and I'm not sure people are aware of this. But basically, if you are given somewhere to stay when you're homeless by the council, and you refuse it, but you don't go through a very careful process of showing that there was an issue with it, they'll say that you've refused a perfectly good place to live, and therefore you're intentionally homeless and can't apply for any kind of support. It's really fucked. In the UK, it's literally illegal to be pretty. What am I supposed to do with that? Excuse me? Yeah, no, it's really fucked up, the council thing, isn't it? Yeah. There's just a lot of stuff that's like, I think if we were gonna generalize some of the stuff that Doot discusses here, like, I think there's something about the way that people's experience, if they have enough resources, enough capital to be comfortable, they don't come into contact with these like very mundane systems that provide for people, but also like deny support to people all the time, and so just aren't really aware of it. Like this point about, the abstraction of council housing actually applies to a whole bunch of stuff, and I've seen so many people who have never been on welfare, or in the UK it's called benefits, um, who will discuss it in this very like abstract political discourse sort of way, and it's not an abstract political discourse. It's it's just like so many people's real lives, and it's also something you just like never forget once it has happened to you. Like once you have been through like social welfare programs, like. Okie Dear says about the intentionally homeless thing. That's the least, like, that's objectively trying to misunderstand the people they're supposed to help. Yeah, it's they have they have performance metrics, and rather than those metrics like following up with how many people, like, rather than that entirely being about the happiness, well-being, safety, and comfort of the people who are homeless through that system, it's about how many people have their cases closed in some sort of way. And so like this intentionally homeless category provides a very quick thing that, like, if the council workers can move things in the right way and label things in the right way, they can just quickly close the case without providing any support, and then that's another case closed, right? Wild thing to think that people are trying to refuse housing. No, yeah, it's really horrible, and it leaks through into political discourse as well. Like it's an experience I've had a few times where I'm talking about housing, and I'm saying like there are more empty homes than there are homeless people, right? So we could just very easily house all the homeless people. Like if the government just had a spine and was willing to do what is moral, right, then they would just say, well, yeah, sorry, like we are just taking those homes and we are just giving them to people who need homes, and if you own like more than one home and the other ones are empty, just like move into the one that you actually like and want to live in, because it sucks that there are people who are like on the street right now. Sorry, I'm being sent more election stuff by people. It's quite distracting. Okay. Chat, if you're enjoying the stream, please consider paying for the stream. I am doing my job right now. I am quite poor. I do need money to live. I know it's a tough time for everyone. Please consider it's a tough time for me too. And I need money. So please use command tip. You can subscribe or cheer, but I'm trying to hit a £320 dono goal for the stream today. So if you can, please use command tip and donate directly. Okay, so that was, we just read an article that was sent in by Doot. I quite liked it. Have any more chat thoughts? Ren D says, being disabled has taught me that these systems are not at all about helping people. Individuals within them might really want to help, but the function of the system is not that. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's exactly right. Someone is becoming one of my biggest donors. Thank you so much, someone who just tipped £28. I really, really appreciate that. We just got a lot closer to the goal. That's very exciting. Thank you so much, someone. Lorcan, welcome to the stream. Lovely to have you here. I want to say one thing I really liked about the article is like, and by the way, chat and VOD viewers, like, I do like doing this. I like having some positive stuff to talk about. Like, I'm going to read one of my articles next. It's nice having good things that we we on the stream, we here in the class are responding to, rather than just always doing like fucking hate watch, hate read stuff. It can be pretty exhausting, always focusing on the slop, and especially when I feel, I'm fairly notorious as an optimist. I do like talking about how we change stuff. So like, yeah, it's nice to, it's if you have you know, if you have stuff that you think is good and you'd like to submit it and have it discussed by the class, you can. As is true with the VOD comments, of course. Willow Treason, welcome to the chat. Lovely to have you here. There's a fundamental denial of agency inherent to almost all liberal support. I like to compare it to don't give them money, they'll use it wrong, just give them food they might not want, need, be able to eat, etc. I do often ask people, this is something worth saying actually, I often ask street homeless people if I can buy them something, not because I wouldn't give them money. I often don't carry cash, but also, even if I am, a lot of people who are homeless and on the street and haven't had access to a place to wash, or their clothes have gotten torn up, they've been in fights, it's very like visibly obvious they are street homeless, are not allowed in shops and will be pushed out by the security, but might not be if they're with someone else. So like, it's worth people asking people if they would, like to be bought anything, and you can either go in for them or with them. Just saying that, I wanted to say something I quite liked about the article was, I think there's a fairly often used, and I think not all that good, rhetorical thing about like the rich getting away with crimes, and this article was like using the state getting away with crimes, much more. Dude, if you want a recommendation here, I would say checking out Engels' writing on social murder if you haven't already, and George Bernard Shaw's writings, which this definitely reminded me of. I think the use of like provocative questions reminded me very strongly of Questions for a Worker Who Reads. Sorry, Questions from a Worker Who Reads, which is, not by George Bernard Shaw. My mistake. It's from Bertolt Brecht in 1935. Let's have a quick look at that. It's a very fun little piece. My window is resized all wrong. Oh no, my window. Hashtag my window. Okay. Here it is. Questions from a Worker Who Reads, Bertolt Brecht, 1935. Who built Thebes of the Seven Gates? In the books you will read the names of kings. Did the kings haul up the lumps of rock? Okie dear, thank you so much for the £3 donation with the message. It's not much, but I got a job recently and I'm happy that I can finally give someone something. Hope this helps at least a tiny bit. Okie and Ren. Thank you so much, Okie. It does help. Small donations still help. Everyone please remember that it still makes a difference, and I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Did the kings haul up the lumps of rock? And Babylon, many times demolished, who raised it up so many times? In what houses of gold glittering lima did its builders live? Where, the evening that the Great Wall of China was finished, did the masons go? Great Rome is full of triumphal arches. Who erected them? Over whom did the Caesars triumph? Had Byzantium, much praised in song, only palaces for its inhabitants? Even in fabled Atlantis, the night that the ocean engulfed it, the drowning still cried out for their slaves. The young Alexander conquered India. Was he alone? Caesar defeated the Gauls. Did he not even have a cook with him? Philip of Spain wept when his armada went down. Was he the only one to weep? Frederick II won the 7 Years' War. Who else won it? Every page a victory. Who cooked the feast for the victors? Every 10 years, a great man. Who paid the bill? So many reports, so many questions. So, some of the more intensive use of rhetorical questions in Doot's piece reminded me of that, so I wanted to share that as well. And the other thing was Engels' stuff about social murder. Yep. Okay. Willow Treason says there's a fundamental denial of agency inherent to almost all. I already read that one. Okay, that's fine. Sorry, I was reacting as if you did something wrong there, and that was me doing something wrong by rereading the same message twice. Okay. Okay. I'm going to take a big breath, because I've noticed that I'm talking so fast that I'm tripping over my words. It's probably an indication that I'm trying to rush through everything too fast. We are going to read this article by Sophie from Mars, and then we're going to get to the liberal slop after that, starting with this Kurzgesagt video people keep on sending me. Okay, and we're slowing down. And we're chilling out. Okay. Chat, I have been streaming... Oh, Zyros, thank you so much for this £5 donation with the message. I have to get some sleep before work soon. Look forward to the VOD. Have a lovely stream. Thank you so much, Zyros. I really appreciate that, and I hope you sleep really, really well. Chat, I've been streaming for over an hour now, so let's keep on pushing with the use of the command tip and the donos and the subscriptions and the cheers. If you're enjoying the stream, please pay for the stream. Okay. This article on my Substack I made this week, it's called, it's blocked off by the, I've got it blocked off by the text here. Anyway, I'll just tell you. It's called The Renters' Rights Act. Do renters get more rights now? Successes and failures of a non-reformist reform. So I'm making this a bit broad, not because I expect people outside of Britain to be all that interested, but because a lot of people inside Britain aren't even fully aware. At the start of this month, May 1st, 2026, the government brought the Renters' Rights Act into force. This is a piece of legislation that tenants' unions have been fighting for almost a decade and was scheduled under the Tories, but Labour have taken credit for, despite voting through a significantly watered-down version that will cause a lot of harm. The bill has abolished Section 21 evictions, which is a fantastic development on the face of it. Section 21, or no-fault evictions, gave UK landlords the right to evict tenants with 2 months' notice at any time for no reason, as long as they basically had all their ducks in a row. Gas and energy safety certificates provided, deposits securely protected, and so on. Abolishing Section 21s is, in my view, a non-reformist reform. It will liberate a lot of people from bad material conditions because they will no longer be at the absolute mercy of their landlords. This means people will be able to settle more in the area they live, put down long-term roots, and ideally, all of this will serve as a stepping stone to more concrete bargaining leverage for renters in the UK in future. In and of itself, it isn't leverage, but Section 21s leave renters with almost negative leverage. The landlord can just evict you any time. That's the worst possible position to be in. Now, moving through a hideously immoral government that is corrupted and perverted entirely towards the whims of capital and constantly drawn to capitulate to the far right in absolutely everything, the bill hasn't come into force as the best version of itself. And we'll get to that too. But it's also worth considering the consequences that banning Section 21s has incurred on its own. In my neighbourhood, all of our current problems exist downstream of the RRA being brought in. Our landlord, an until recently socially minded housing association, responded to the RRA by selling our estate. Since their business had been trending more towards new build luxury flats for a while, and the hassle of having tenants who they can't just instantaneously evict overbalanced the economic risk assessment for them. We were sold to an extremely ruthless and greedy, not to mention stupid, lazy, and incompetent, but those are working to our favour right now, landlord who has begun the process of trying to evict essentially the whole estate. Since the RRA had been announced, but the government gave a grace period of a few months before the law would come into effect, our new landlord demanded rent increases between £250 a month and £900 a month extra, and firing Section 21 notices at anyone who refused the increase. This retaliatory move to use Section 21s while they still can is not the fault of the bill per se, but it is very predictable. The blame here really lies with Starmer's government for not pushing harder to protect people's right to stable housing, and once again, there we can look at the endless indifferent cruelty of market logic and the profit incentive. Renters and landlords simply aren't two equal parties who must both be carefully appeased. One is in a position of power over the other, and until now has been given every conceivable right to do whatever they want. With the UK's MAGA party, Reform, looming in the polls, it couldn't be clearer that a meaningful left-wing stance is needed in mainstream British politics. Reform have, among many ghoulish policy pledges, announced they will scrap the RRA if elected. And Labour have been wholly unwilling to embody that left alternative. While they may position themselves as having done something good for the working class by passing the RRA, its real proponents this entire time have been the Renters' Union, Acorn, GMTU, LIU, who have pushed the bill through, working against the government at practically every step. It's Zach Polanski's Green Party that has a real policy pledge to help solve the UK's housing crisis in their goal to abolish private landlords in the UK altogether. Chairman Mao is smiling upon us, indeed. The biggest problem with the Renters' Rights Act, however, isn't just in inadequate safeguards against the inevitable Section 21 rapid-fire backlash, but in its capitulation to landlords, and can be summarised in just two words: market rate. The Act entitles renters to take their landlords to court if a proposed rent increase is too high, and the rent tribunals set up for this process are empowered to cap the rate a renter is paying to market rate. Of course, now we have to ask, who determines the market rate? Returning to my own estate, where I have been furiously organising against our new soulless overlords, this protection would actually offer nothing to the devastation facing our community. None of us are paying at or above market rate, and that is exactly why we've been able to remain as a community for so long. When housing is a commodity, all semblance of human activity is shredded, as the basic facts of accommodation are organised through a machine-like logic, the market logic. There are mothers here, grandmothers even, who have lived on the same estate for over 30 years, and that is only possible because they pay significantly under market rate. When our local Labour MP, wearing a sleeveless puffer gilet and a chrome kettle on his wrist, told us that we could get our rents capped at market rate, he was not, as he thought, leaping to our defence, but instead demonstrating his complete lack of understanding of our situation. To be told by this man that we could be referred to the council's homelessness prevention team, when less than a month earlier we had all been under the impression we would continue live on our estate indefinitely without trouble, was worse than insulting. Frankly, it was degrading. I'm writing about this because I know that many other renters in the UK will be put in the same position by this act, and I think that real momentum needs to be built urgently toward tenant power across the country if we are to avoid the housing crisis evolving into a housing cataclysm. While the abolition of Section 21 evictions was a non-reformist reform, let me just quickly copy this into the chat for anyone who wants to be reading along. While the abolition of Section 21s was a non-reformist reform, creating the possibility of building tenant power, the market rate cap has the potential to serve as a secondary method for eviction, as is happening in my neighbourhood and others like it. What is, on the face of it, a completely unreasonable rent increase that has no precedent for people who have lived in the same place for decades would be ruled legal according to this legislation. The only real hope that estates like mine have is organising. That's what we've been doing. With the support of London Renters' Union, we've started to move en masse against the landlord, recruiting the whole neighbourhood into a collective action, filling out paperwork together, researching all possible options for our strategy. The saving graces of this rent tribunal system are that 1. The UK court system is infamously backed up, and it will take months and months for any case to be reviewed, and 2. Rent will no longer be backdated after court ruling, meaning that any rent increase can be effectively frozen for the length of time it takes to bring it to tribunal if challenged before the proposed rent increase comes into force. During the time in between, we're betting our landlord is going to be in a lot of trouble. Cursory digging online shows that they were able to purchase our estate by taking out an enormous loan, which some of our calculations suggest they may already be defaulting on. Our bet is that they can't keep this up for 6 months, but that's a bet we shouldn't have to be making at all. This is a clear case where the right thing to do may not align with what the law currently says, but what is happening is so patently wrong that the government should use any available powers to intervene. I don't have faith that the Labour administration I don't have faith that a Labour administration happy to support Israel through 2 years of live-streamed child murder and unspeakable atrocities will be compelled by something as low yield as the right thing to do, of course. But since the local council elections are just days away, and now they've happened yesterday actually, just days away, they have been trying to get photo ops out of appearing like they're interested in helping. Incidentally, if anyone's in touch with the Green candidates for Southwark Council, shoot me a DM. The housing crisis as it currently exists in the UK is so far from anything like morally neutral that any given bill or proposed policy change is going to be a little inadequate, or even risk backlash. But the moment we are in right now for tenants and tenants' rights is a very, very fragile one. There are many possible changes that could be brought in, many strategies to explore, but if tenants can demonstrate that they are a serious political bloc, then these are instead a huge variety of potential policies any UK party can offer their constituents. The right to withhold rent was dropped from the Renters' Rights Coalition's demands before the bill reached Parliament, but if any single change could empower tenants more than rent controls, that might be it. The ability for TRAs, Tenants and Residents Associations, to publicly campaign for political change, at least within the scope of renters' rights, would enable tenants' unions to grow rapidly using pre-existing democratic structures within communities to build capacity. I'm noticing a lot of typos right now, which is very embarrassing. I probably just shouldn't have mentioned it. A recognition of the essential nature of housing could even prompt a more socialist, or eco-socialist, minded government to insist on a state-owned enterprise model where any corporate landlord past a certain size enters a proportional track towards local council control. The backing up of the courts with renter versus landlord cases is actually somewhat strategic. I said as early as mid-2024 that overwhelming the courts would be an effective way for tenants' unions to pressure the government, and now it looks set to really start putting that pressure on. The problem is, if the court, however slowly, works through its backlog and hands out the market rate rents, then to many people it will still serve as a de facto eviction. This is what makes this moment so important for organised tenants. Unions have to seize on the backlog and the backlog and the pressure it creates, and call for change now. They have to pick up on stories of neighbourhoods like mine and use them for media value in shaming the government into developing new powers, new ways of challenging scumbag landlords, and new renters' rights. The pressure on renters' unions to grow both rapidly and strategically is enormous, because everyone knows that there is a housing crisis in this country, and some people even have very practicable, very obvious answers for what to do about it. But without organised tenant power, none of it will happen. That means tenants' unions that are able to organise in working class neighbourhoods, able to scale fast, able to coordinate and organise well with communities without bringing them entirely into the union themselves, able to see the opportunities and follow through on them. That's what we need. We're all hoping they can live up to the challenge. Join your local tenants' union today. There you go. Let me know what you thought of the article. I thought it paired well with Dute's piece about the law, and I also just wanted to share it since I've been giving updates on the tenants organising around here. One update I'll give that I put on my Instagram story earlier in the week I was very entertained by was that I wrote and sent out a template for all of the tenants to send complaints to the tenancy relations team in Southwark Council, which includes something we found out last week that I was being cagey about before. We're in a selective licensing ward. We're actually in a Category 4 selective licensing ward, which is the strictest one. I will be kicking up a stink if the council does not take our side on this. There is no listed license for our landlord, which could mean that they get banned as a landlord. They might even face criminal charges. We are going to be able to file rent repayment orders potentially, and off the bat it should just completely invalidate all of their rent increase demands and all of their Section 21s as well. So we're still waiting for the council to get back and fully confirm that it's the case, that they don't have a license. But we have now sent off just a ton of complaints saying they don't have a license, plus they've done all this stuff, which should put us in the position to be able to file these rent repayment orders. And to be honest, if they were made to follow through on these rent repayment orders, they would have to pay literally millions of pounds. So this is why I've been saying it's things are getting very funny here on the estate right now. Anyway, okay, that's all of the preamble. We're about to get into the slop properly, the sloppily. We're gonna get into a Kurzgesagt video that has been sent to me repeatedly this week. It's called Germany is Over. Some people in chat may have already seen this. I haven't seen this, but I have been told about what it's about. Beanie Gaby, welcome to the stream. Lovely to have you here. And I'm... Oh boy. What an exciting time. Yay. Yeah, you know I have quite a history with Kurzgesagt. I thought that last time that we watched something from them, their video about fat, that was going to be the last thing, because I was just like, okay, this sucks. But it's interesting. It's something interesting. Like, we've been doing the Liberal Slop stream for a few years now. It's very interesting seeing this trajectory over time that different people and different organizations have taken. Like, obviously I talk all the time about Ezra Klein and his potential to become a blowbo if he follows through on the path that he seems to be taking. But some liberal slop, some creators of liberal slop, have not taken a turn to the left over time. Anyway, very seriously, chat, I am poor. Please remember that I am poor and that I need money to live. So if you are enjoying the stream, this is my job, this is my work I'm doing right now. Please pay me for doing the work that I'm doing. If you're enjoying the stream, you can subscribe or cheer or donate directly using command tip. We are going to jump into the Kurzgesagt video now. Oh boy, what a time this is gonna be. Yes, Oki dear. The one of the first articles we read since returning from hiatus on the Liberal Slop stream was about how we are now in the post-liberal era, which, like, you can kind of understand the claims being made here, right? It was essentially them trying to reckon with socialism or barbarism, and coming out with a convenient set of excuses for them to avoid socialism and side with the fascists. And so I declared it to be liberal slop rather than liberal slop. We're gonna see some post-liberal stuff, I think, here from Kurzgesagt, if I'm honest. Okay, let's start it. Chat, please use that command tip. We've got almost 40 people watching right now. If we're trying to get to 320, what's that? That's 150 away. So 150 over 40, it's under £4 now. If everybody tipped just under £4, everyone who's watching right now, we could get right to the dono goal, and I would stop bugging you about this. Million Peaches, thank you so much for donating £5. With the message, plane taking off now, have a good slop. Oh, sweetie, have a good flight. Thank you so much for the dono, and I hope everything goes really well. Travel safe. That's one viewer who has now donated a bit over the share. So everyone, if you just use command tip and donate a bit under £4, then we would get right to the donor goal immediately. Let's jump in here. I will share quickly with you the only thing I think is pertinent that people have told me about this, which is that this video discusses birth rates. So I think we're in for a time. Okay.
Germany will soon crash into the consequences of a fertility crisis made much worse.
Okay, no, it's just directly about that. That's it from the first second. Awesome. Sorry, like, immediately. Fertility crisis. It's just like, dude, I can't be pausing 1 second in. This is so bad, but at the same time, like, Oh shit, is Germany behaving like a post-industrial nation? Is Germany's demographics behaving exactly how you expect for countries where generally the quality of life has been raised by industrialization? Okay, we're just gonna press ahead. We're just gonna do it.
By the mismanagement of the boomer generation. The demographic collapse tearing up the generational contract may soon destroy one of Germany's greatest achievements, its welfare state. Millennials, Gen Z and younger are left with a huge mess they somehow need to sort while they're outvoted by the grey bloc
Guys,
making the decisions for them.
guys, I'm scared. We're 24 seconds into the video and Kurzgesagt has taken a really scary turn. Guys! Oh no.
What happened? Population collapse. Germany was among the first countries to industrialize, and so its fertility rates dropped early in the 20th century.
Okay,
But
cool. Yep, you've identified the main thing that is the cause of birth rates going down. Fertility rate, very interesting way to, like, have people become less fertile? I don't think that's the case, right? I that's quite troubling, quite a troubling way to put it, especially like just the kind of implicit focus that gives to the implicit focus that gives to like bodily control, right? Like people's bodies are the issue. We need to do something about their fertility is like, ugh. Okay.
for 55 years, they've been below replacement at 1.4 children per woman in 2025. Compared to South Korea, this sounds almost amazing, but it still means population collapse. If fertility stays at 1.4, then 100 Germans will have 70 kids. When those grow up, they'll have
Population collapse. Nah. I'm not sure about that one, dude. I'm not really sure about that one. 100 Germans will have 70 kids.
1.4, then 100 Germans will have 70 kids. When those grow up, they'll have 49 kids, who'll then have 34 kids, who'll have 24. A 76% drop within 4 generations. Many people think there are too many humans anyway, so what's the big deal? Well, at the same
Ren, thank you so much for the £3 donation with the message, "Oh God, good luck with this one." Wee! This is so much worse than I thought it was gonna be. I was just like, nah, I'm gonna not watch this one because I should be going into this blind. I'm not expecting to have a big reaction to it, but like I kind of know everything they're gonna say, and oh man, it's so bad. I might have to like. I may have to go over this a couple of times, to be honest. I'm not going to try and be like anal about this and go through all of the little like manipulations they're doing here, but like just on the face of it, how did they not see how Nazi they're being? They must, right? Like surely they must. They've probably reached a position with their politics where they're going like, oh, AFD has a point. Like they must be at that place now. Like this is completely crazy.
70 kids. When those grow up, they'll have 49 kids, who'll then have 34 kids, who'll have 24.
So, like, why... Firstly, like, that's not strictly how that math actually works out, because, like, generations are not, like, batches produced in a factory. But also, like, why would the rate not change? To assume that the birth rate of any demographic would not change, like generation upon generation, is just a really bizarre assumption to make in the first place. The Pliberal River has been crossed. They've crossed the Plubicon. This is really bad, guys. Like, genuinely, I'm okay.
A 76% drop within 4 generations. Many people think there are too many humans anyway, so what's the big deal?
Why is that where you're taking this? Like, surely the immediate thing you would be saying is like, well, it's okay because the people are competing for resources less, and also there's a whole bunch of people who are coming to Germany and bolstering the population. Or do those ones not count as Germans for some reason? Kurtz? Do they not count as Germans? This is a bit alarming. Guys, I'm scared. This sucks so bad. We're also like 1 minute in. Like, the beautiful thing about Kurzgesagt is that they can be so dense with their animations, like helping them pack in information, that they they can be like this troublingly wrong very efficiently, right? That's very German of them, I guess. They can be really, really wrong really fast.
Well, at the same time, people started living much, much longer. So we have a fatal mix of way more grannies and way fewer babies. The real crisis German millennials,
You have an aging population. Yes, okay.
Gen Z and younger will have to live through is the massive shift in population composition and the transition period. In 2026, Germany is already one of the oldest countries in the world, with a median age of over 45. Almost 2 in 5 Germans are over 50, almost 1 in 4 is older than 65. Only 1 in 8 is a child under 14. Despite its industrial production declining, suffocating bureaucracy, and little economic growth, Germany's system is still chugging along, and it remains one of the richest countries.
This is the other thing they do that's completely insane. They just, like, completely take the wind out of their own sails. Like, I paused here because it's like they always do this, where they're just like, hey everyone, there's a really serious problem. By the way, there's all of the other stuff that you could say that kind of shows that it's, like, not really a serious problem, but there's a really serious problem, and if you just stop, like, it's just like, it sounds like there's not a really serious problem, guy. It sounds like things are kind of fine, actually. Like, the nation's actually still really rich? Oh. Okay. It's kind of fine then, isn't it? Really? Sounds like you're doing just A-okay. Like... Suffocating bureaucracy is like... This is the kind of thing that I feel like they would have been a little bit more careful a few years ago about having a kind of... like a source to cite when they're saying something like Germany has suffocating bureaucracy. But now it's like, this is a thing that's, Widover says, actually Germany is doing AFD. Yeah, no, like, this video is expressing, like, very concerningly fascistic ideas right off the bat. And amidst Germany, like, having a massive rise in its, like, neo-fascist party, AFD. Sorry, I gotta reply to something really quick. This is what I said. If there is a massive swell of, like, fash stuff happening in your country, and you're... I don't know, dude. This is just, like, this is very deeply concerning. We should just carry on with it. If you're enjoying the stream, subscribe, cheer, donate, command, tip, please. I'm poor. You got the gist.
The country still has a big population and a big workforce, along with generous...
Oh, I didn't actually... Sorry, I didn't pause late enough. He has more stuff to say about how wrong he is on his premise.
social benefits and pension payouts. But soon, the reality of demographics and boomer mismanagement will hit Germany like a freight train. Population crash means that a society and culture loses more than just people. The systems and countries we've built can't just be downscaled. Things stop working. Young Germans are screwed. Old ones.
The font choice. The font choice is a choice. There's quite an intense font choice going on here. Am I wrong? Like, in terms of what typography communicates, like, essentially German to people? Am I wrong? Like, you guys see it too, right? Like, what's going on here with all this? Yeah? We all see that? We all see what he's doing there? Okay. That's cool, isn't it? My tummy hurts. I just really didn't expect this to happen with Kurzgesagt. Like, I thought they were gonna carry on doing, like, fucking hell. I mean, you know what? Like, in a sense, it's still very much the same thing, which is them chugging along, being like the charming little colorful cartoon channel that do like an I fucking love science style explainer for stuff, and they have no cognizance of how unbelievably terrifyingly Nazi their talking points are. It's just that like the delta between the like wholesome inoffensive liberal shit and like the stuff actually being said has hit like an all-time high. I'm actually gonna send this to Nat right now. Like, fucking hell, like this is actually so bad. You should watch this. I'm guys, I'm having a moment here. Genuinely, like, this is so bad. Christ. I'm gonna read chat for a second because I'm just like... Lowilly13 says, as someone from Germany, sadly, I'm not surprised this is by a video like this from liberals. Yeah, I mean... This is kind of my point, though, is like, in a moment where fascism is rising, like, you really... Oh, Gay Potato 1312, thank you so much for the £4 tip for the message for the damage caused by Slopgesagt. in a slop shell. Oh my god. Yeah, no, like, in a moment where fascism is rising across the country, like, to say shit like this, like... I just hope he's not going to act surprised when a whole bunch of people are calling this dude a fucking Nazi. Like, this is crazy Nazi shit. Like, fuck me. This is, like, kind of mesmerizing in a way, like, in terms of liberal, like dissociation. Like, the decoupling of this rhetoric from a cognizance of its like very obvious political consequences. Yeah, this is so fucked. Anyway, Lowilly 13, welcome to the stream. I can see you're a first-time chatter. It's lovely to have you here. Chat, please consider, like Gay Potato did, compensating me for inflicting this psychic damage upon myself. I really thought it was gonna be like, okay, fucking Kurzgesagt, we're used to this shit, we know what this is all about. I'm blown away by how, like, evil this is? I would call this evil. Like, this is doing some evil shit, and we're 2 minutes we're 2 minutes in. No. Guys, help. We're literally only 2 minutes in. This is really fucking bad. Oh my god. Oh, this is so dire. One sec. Let me tell fucking Tumblr about this. This is really bad. Christ. I'm genuinely kind of in shock. Like, I really, really didn't Really, really didn't expect it to be like this. Um, okay. Oh, there it is. Like, do they earnestly expect for people to like see this and think like and be like scared, like scared for Germany's future? Like they call it "Germany is over," all caps. Let me just really quickly check. No, no, their other videos don't have all caps titles. Like they do clickbait a lot, but like this is the first video where it's like where the title is all caps. This is kind of crazy. This is like imagine waking up, opening YouTube and seeing a thumbnail of one of your favorite channels that says your entire country is over. The world when it's my turn to be an adult. Oh, cool. They're just propagandizing people with Nazi shit. This isn't even getting called out. Okay. The world somehow having a housing shortage and a birth rate problem is wild. Dude, it's capitalism. What the fuck is wrong with you? Oh no. Oh no. This is scary as fuck. They've actually like they've got all these people buying into it as well. Fucking hell. Willie13 says, also the font choice reminds me of something. Recently, some liberals have used AI to turn Nazi propaganda into anti-fascist propaganda. That's so embarrassing. That's so fucking cringe. That sucks so bad. Okay, I gotta log back in. I gotta try and push through this. We're gonna rewatch the first 2 minutes because I think it's worth, like, just going back over it a little bit. Because I was still kind of in shock through that intro. If you're enjoying the stream, please pay for the stream. There's a dono bar there. Use command tip to donate me to send in donations. I have set the monthly goal higher this month because it's my birthday at the start of next month, and I was born in New Zealand. I'm turning 30. I would really like to make a trip back to New Zealand for my 30th birthday. So please tip if you are enjoying the stream, because this is my job, and it's really nice when I get paid for doing my job, especially because I just don't really have that much money.
Germany will soon crash into the consequences of a fertility crisis made much worse by the mismanagement of the boomer generation. The demographic collapse tearing up the generational contract may soon destroy one of Germany's greatest achievements, its welfare state. Millennials, Gen Z and younger are left with a huge mess they somehow need to sort while they're outvoted by the grey bloc making the decisions for them. What happened? Population collapse. Germany was among the first countries to industrialize, and so its fertility rates dropped early in the 20th century. But for 55 years, they've been below replacement at 1.4 children per woman in 2025. Compared to South Korea, this sounds almost amazing, but it still means population collapse. If fertility stays at 1.4, then 100 Germans will have 70 kids. When those grow up, they'll have 49 kids, who'll then have 34 kids, who'll have 24. A 76% drop within 4 generations. Many people think there are too many humans anyway, so what's the big deal? Well, at the same time, people started living much, much longer. So we have a fatal mix of way more grannies and way fewer babies. The real crisis German millennials, Gen Z and younger will have to live through is the massive shift in population composition and the transition period. In 2026, Germany is already one of the oldest countries.
Lokan, you're so funny. Lokan just said, oh wow, it's some sort of replacement, a superlative one or something. Of the countries in the EU, Germany has one of the highest rates of accepting migrants and refugees. At least that was true previously. Correct me if that's changed and it's different now. Like, if the population is going down, just like genuinely overall, it seems like they could offer, yeah, like to take more people in, but I doubt that the population is. Sorry, hang on a second. I need to do some independent Googling now because this is so insane. Germany population over time. Mm-hmm. 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 Right. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Oh, look at that. A growing but stabilizing population. Wow. I Chat, what the fuck? This is so dire. Like, no, okay. I've paused so many times. I've even rewound. We have to press forward. We have to, for the sake of the stream. This is so bad. Like, holy shit.
Countries in the world with a median age of over 45. Almost 2 in 5 Germans are over 50, almost 1 in 4 is older than 65. Only 1 in 8 is a child under 14.
It's just like you could change your economic mode, right? Like, this is just like the thing. This, we covered this on stream like a little while ago now, but like in China they had a massively expansive housing market that was building loads more housing all the time, and the Western media, always seeking ways to be critical of China for absolutely no reason, were like, they're building too much housing, it's a serious problem. And it's like, what are you fucking talking about? Everyone agrees that here we don't have enough housing. How is them building too much housing an issue? And then they hit a point where they had enough housing, and the CCP publicly announced, we're changing our plan because we have enough housing now. We just want to focus on like putting people in the houses because people need houses to live in, and that's the important thing here. We're not going to make more houses than we need. And then they started, the Western media started reporting, China is in crisis because its housing construction market is collapsing. And it's like, yeah, because they don't need it anymore. They're letting it collapse on purpose. That's the idea. And it's just like, here, if Germany has like very thorough regulations of business and production and everything, they have a stable population that is aging. They're a very wealthy nation. They could just not be trying to infinitely grow for no reason. They could just change like how they're functioning, like in terms of economic mode. Like, it doesn't. This is so fucked. This is so dire, dude.
Despite its industrial production declining, suffocating bureaucracy, and little economic growth, Germany's system is still chugging along, and it remains one of the richest countries. The country still has a big population and a big workforce, along with generous social benefits and pension payouts. But soon, the reality is,
this particular screen, this
along with
particular
generous
one right
social
here,
benefits and
where like they're literally showing the like society if meme, you know, society if men could like accept criticism without freaking out or whatever, like but they're but they're showing that to say this is what Germany is currently like. So why are you telling us Germany is over?
pension payouts. But soon, the reality of demographics and boomer mismanagement will hit Germany like a freight train.
I feel like appealing to, like, saying that it's an issue with, like, boomer mismanagement is trying to appeal to progressive sensibilities a little bit and say that, like, there's an issue of, like, the kids in the future. But nothing being said is anything other than quite explicitly nativist right-wing garbage.
Crash means that a society and culture loses more than just people.
The music getting more intense as well is just like so much. Holy shit.
The systems and countries we've built can't just be downscaled. Things stop working. young Germans are screwed, old ones too. By 2036, 13 million German baby boomers will retire, this big bulge here. But because they didn't have nearly enough kids, way fewer younger people will replace them. In 2030 alone, there might be millions of jobs that will be impossible to fill. Fewer people working means fewer taxes and resources for the state. Also, services will decline.
Buddy, do you really think that's how it's gonna, like, do you really think that's how it's gonna be? Like, imperial core nations accept a bunch of immigration, and then they get more people who are working age, who are like contributing to the economy. This has been Germany's like strategy for a very, very, very long time, and it would be trivial for Germany to keep, even as like a, you know, somewhat progressive capitalist regulated market capitalist country, to just like introduce more pathways for people to become legal citizens faster, to enable more migration, and it would just function entirely fine. Like there is zero issue here. Like absolutely zero issue, unless the civilizational collapse you're talking about, this population collapse, this demographic collapse, can't be solved for some reason. Low Willy 13, thank you so much for the £5 donation with the message. I've been watching your streams regularly since 2022. Just want to say that you're the best political streamer I'm watching. That's really sweet of you. Thank you so much. That's such a lovely message. Everyone, please follow Low Willy 13's example and donate. If you have a fiver that you can chuck towards me, we could hit the goal for today at 320 really fast. Because I can see there are quite a few people watching, and doing some quick maths, we would zoom past that dono goal if everyone could donate £5, or even as little as, doing some proper maths this time, even as little as like £3.50? Anyway, unless for some reason this demographic collapse, this population issue can't be solved by migrants, unless there's an issue of like who counts as a German, which like, see, I'm not a historian primarily, I'm primarily an epistemologist, but I do remember there being some trouble with Germany in the past. This is so bad, guys. Guys, this is so fucking dire.
Waiting times would increase for everything from your bags at the...
Shirara, welcome to the stream. Lovely to have you here. I'm partly just saying your name because I love saying Rara. Vodrella says, oh, they're going to bring that up, the migrants. Can't wait. Can't fucking wait. Can't wait. Let's do it. Let's get right in there. Let's do it. Chat, if you're enjoying the stream, you know the drill. Let's go.
Airport to doctor's appointments. But the much more urgent issue is retirees. Germany has a pay-as-you-go pension system, which means that about 20% of today's salaries is directly paid out to pensioners. This sort of worked in the 1960s when there were 5 working Germans for every retiree. But in 2024, this ratio is down to about 2.5. In the 2030s, it will get closer to 2 workers for 1 pensioner. And about 10 years after retirement, people tend to get really sick and cause the vast majority of healthcare costs. The math ain't mathing.
I'm not going to be a huge bitch about this, but like, they get really sick and cause the majority of healthcare costs is laying the blame on the person getting sick, which is like... Rara is a new stim now, and it's helping me get through this. It's a furry thing for me. I don't even know if it's accurate to say that what lions say is rah-rah, but I love saying rah-rah. I love cuddling with my wife and going rah-rah. Vord says the math ain't mathing, people. This is really bad. Like, this here, like, saying that, like, in the 2030s there will be 2 workers per 1 retiree, it's like, well, why is that? Why? That's still more than 1. Like, that's not a collapse point. That's, like, slightly worse than it is right now. And also, I don't believe you that there won't be that many workers, because there will be, won't there? Unless... Okie Dear says that's the Third Reich eagle. Jesus Christ. Frogs Wizard, welcome to the stream. Lovely to have you here. Frogs Wizard says, I want to scream. It's really bad. Shit's dire over here. God damn.
For one pensioner. And about 10 years after retirement, people tend to get really sick and cause the vast majority of healthcare costs. The math ain't mathing, and it actually never really did. Already in the 1970s, governments began to subsidize.
Shirara, thank you so much for the £55 donation. That's enormous. And the message, we're all in this, brackets, watching an evil video together, as the song goes. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Chat, we are now significantly closer to the dono goal for today. That means that if everyone watching right now, excluding Shirara, who's definitely, like, already contributed enough, if everyone watching right now used command tip and then tipped only £2, we would get to the dono goal immediately. So please consider donating if you're enjoying the stream. Thank you so much, Shirara. That's fantastic. Oh, Christ. The math ain't mathing, and it actually never really did. I think your math ain't mathing, motherfucker.
And it actually never really did. Already in the 1970s, governments began to subsidize the pension funds with tax revenue, pushing the problem into the future, as has more or less every single government since then. Well, the future is today.
Dude, what if maybe you didn't have... What if you didn't have an economic model that demanded infinite growth? Have you considered?
In 2025, the German federal government spent roughly a quarter of its annual tax revenues to fix holes in the pension system, on top of the working population's payments. Let's say that again. 1 in 4 German tax euros is used to pay out pensions today.
Willow Treason, thank you so much for the £8 donation, no message. Everyone who's following along with the mathing, that means that Willow Treason just donated 4 times as much as everyone would need to. That's 3 people covered there. Everyone, if you can donate just £2, we would get to the dono goal really, really fast. But you can donate a little more if you want to be really generous. Thank you so much, Willow Treason.
More than on education, research, infrastructure, and defense combined. The wealth of the nation is redistributed from the young and the working to the old and retired. And as the boomers retire, this will only get worse. It's money that could be spent on things that help the young and the working part of the population, like incentives.
Update chat, Nat is watching the video right now. She has sent me the message. Ah! This is so bad.
To start a family, lower taxes, free childcare, cheap loans to buy homes, investments in education, infrastructure, or clean energy. There are so many things that would help young Germans. But will millennials and Gen Z get to enjoy similar pensions at least? Well, it's not very likely. The current system only works for boomers because their parents had more children and died younger, and because Germany was booming and the problem escalated slowly.
This is such a classic Kurzgesagt video in terms of, like, talking about some problems that exist and completely misidentifying the systems at play in them. Like, completely and entirely misidentifying them. I don't think it's anywhere near as dire as the drugs one, because like I said, when we watched that one, Kurzgesagt, one of their first massive successes was a video where they talked about how if people are in a setting where they where they are supported and have the things they need. They will not experience addiction as an all-encompassing crisis that ruins their lives. And they literally took the video down because they felt like it wasn't evidence-based enough as they got more liberal and as they got more funding from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Pardon me. Nat's just sent me a really long voice message. This video is so cursed. This video is so evil. Oh my god. It's not as bad. It's like in terms of like the irony, I guess is what I'm saying about the drugs one. But it is worse in being like this is such an open political and social conflict in Germany right now, and they're very clearly marking themselves as being on the evil side. Like when we were watching Kurzgesagt videos a couple of years ago, like I remember they had those big like bar charts they were filling out with like population sizes, and they had like African country populations inflating African country populations inflating and like turning red as they got larger because it's like a really serious problem that there are too many Africans. Not enough Germans, too many Africans. Great. Great. That's so cool. This is so cool, guys. Fucking Kurzgesagt is such a cool channel. So good at communicating science.
I hate these guys. I hate them. So a few points. Obviously, he brings up migrants as a cause of declining availability of housing.
Oh, wait, no. We haven't even got there yet. We're gonna have to go. We can't even listen to Nat's thoughts on this yet. Oh my god, I'm going insane. I'm going completely fucking insane. All right.
Young people today don't have all of that. Okay, that's depressing, but at least the young can take care of their own retirement and save money, right? Well, many sure would like to, but taxes and contributions are about 40% of salaries for the average worker and almost 50% in the highest tax.
Dude, what the fuck are you on? Like, how are you locating taxes as the issue here? Like, how is it not like rent, for example, right? Like people having to pay part of their paycheck to a landlord every month or whatever, dude.
Brackets, one of the highest in the world. Together with the rising cost of living and sluggish wage growth, this makes it especially hard for young and middle-aged.
Vodrella Widow of Oz says, I actually don't care about the highest tax brackets. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Vord says, this is a fully taxationist theft narrative, fully libertarian shit. Like, how can the same video be saying a quarter of the tax budget is going to old people and taking care of them, and saying, you're paying way too much taxes? And it's like, but the taxes are going directly to the population and helping the population. Are you kidding me? Like, this video is like a fucking performance art piece of like how liberal ideology morphs into fascism. Like it's fucking astonishing the way that they're just like, they're taking all our taxes, all the taxes are way too high. We're suffering a population collapse. Goodness gracious me.
Germans to generate savings for their own retirements. One of the best investments, wealth generators and places of comfort and security, is owning your own place.
Rugged Island, welcome to the chat, says you're a first-time chatter, nice to have you here. It says, spare a thought for us in Ireland. High taxes, but one of the lowest public spending in the EU. I don't know about what Ireland spends tax money on, but I do know that, like, it's again, like, as with fucking everywhere, some of the deepest economic and social problems are caused by capitalism. Like, Ireland is, like, the epitome of the neoliberal housing crisis in terms of, like, developers building luxury housing that no one's gonna live in, while a whole bunch of people can't afford or have nowhere to go. Like, it's, yeah.
But due to a mix of NIMBYs preventing new development, increasing mountains of new regulations making building more expensive, and millions of people immigrating to Germany in the last few decades,
Ginger with Envy, welcome to the stream. Lovely to have you here. Morgan the Face says, Drat, I thought Ireland was based. Firstly, Ireland is based. When I say no borders, no nations, I mean one nation, no borders, 400 counties. I see a green world. Globalize the rot. No, sorry. The Irish government is very based in some ways, and there's a lot of based political actors in Ireland and political organizing happening in Ireland. But obviously, capitalism is capitalism everywhere. Chucky Arla, exactly. Right. We need to go back because some shit just happened here. We have to go back over. Let's find out about why no one can verkaufen. I'm so wound up, chat. Chat, I'm not okay right now. This is this is fucked. Okay. Hey, Kurzgesagt, why can't young people afford homes?
but due to a mix of NIMBYs preventing new development, increasing mountains of new regulations making building more expensive, and millions...
Damn, all those NIMBYs are really causing problems by saying that they don't want stuff in their backyards. What stuff would they be saying they don't want in their backyards, all these housing activists? It sounds like a really serious problem. I suppose that housing activists are regularly stopping new developments from getting built, and they're definitely succeeding really often at that, for there to be like a massive economic effect caused by NIMBYism. Well, that sounds really frustrating, but you know, I guess they must just hate good stuff that was gonna be built in their backyards, and they just don't want anything in their backyards. That's the issue. That's why those NIMBYs are a problem and are causing expensive housing. That's a really serious issue. And regulations, oh man, don't even get me started on regulations. Like, it's, you know, back in my day, people would just live in a shack. You know, they just live in a box. They just live down the hose. They would just live up the pipe. They just live in a shoe. Because if there's one area of life, right, you would like to skip regulations and just like cut some of that pesky red tape. It's for houses that people live in. It's But anyway, those all sound really bad. Those all sound fucking dire, man. I'm really sorry that all that's happening to your country. That sounds really upsetting. Oh, I'm glad you don't have any other problems though, because those two on their own are just, that's enough already.
new development, increasing mountains of new regulations making building more expensive, and millions of people immigrating to Germany in the last few decades.
Hang on, bro. I thought there was a fucking population decline. I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna actually lose it. I'm gonna actually fucking lose it. There are millions of people moving to Germany. But there's also a population collapse. How is that? Make that make sense, Kurzgesagt, without, crucially, drawing a distinction between who counts as German and who doesn't. Like, really seriously, because you know your country could just, like, pass a law and make it super fucking easy. Oh my goodness. Super fucking easy to become a fully legal citizen. Vodrella says, just wait until you hear the way they hand wave this away. Oh, bud, I'm... Oh, crikey. Artemis, welcome to the stream. Lovely to have you here. Everyone, I have nearly 50 viewers right now. That means that if everybody watching donated just £3, we would sail way past the donor goal for today, actually. And remember that we are fundraising for my birthday, for my 30th birthday, where I want to take a special 30th birthday trip. So please consider paying for the stream. If you are enjoying the stream, you can subscribe or cheer or donate directly using command, that's !TIP. Okay. Okay, we're almost certainly at the most cursed part of the video, so let's watch the most cursed part of the video.
Housing supply is deeply behind demand. Renting and buying real estate in metropolitan areas where young people actually want to live is so expensive today that even couples with a dual income and good jobs have a really hard time affording it. The generation...
Sounds like rent controls would really sort that out really fast, huh? If only there were some like housing activists who were campaigning to make the places where they lived nicer and not have like really shitty things built there. But you know, the danger is that those people would just become NIMBYs, right? So
national contract in Germany is broken. Young Germans are condemned to pay off a huge loan on the future that the older generations have generously granted themselves. And they don't have the power to change this by voting, because German parties just have no incentive to help young people. Demographic decline in a democracy is a feedback loop. When seniors are the largest group of voters, politicians make politics for them. This leaves young Germans facing a hard time building...
Well, I'm really glad that you aren't saying anything that buys into narratives peddled by parties who primarily appeal to the super old and reactionary. I'm really glad you aren't saying anything that would give more electoral power to anyone who is, oh my goodness.
wealth or getting their own homes, which makes them even less willing to start families.
Morgan says, I'm waiting for this guy to be like, why is looking for housing so hard in the UK? Sophie from Mars did it. It wouldn't even be the craziest lie about me on the internet.
And have children even if they want to, all of which is making the demographic crash worse. Germany has become a society that works for the old and relies on the young, making...
Demographic crash. It's no longer a population crash. It's no longer a population decline. It's a demographic crash. Like... My guy's becoming a Nazi, right? Like, we're all... Am I having a stroke? Like, we're all seeing the same thing here, right? Like, Kurzgesagt is having a really, really troubling pivot here, right?
It's really hard to create new young people.
Lorcan says, and yet somehow the solution isn't socialist revolution. This is a crucial thing, actually. I'll be mentioning this in my essay about Ezra Klein. A lot of people think that spectacle, the concept of spectacle as discussed by Guy Debord and the Situationists, is just stuff that is like taking our attention. It's just the attention economy. It's just spectacle, right? It's any kind of spectacle, any kind of spectacular anything. But very specifically, like, what Debord talks about in society, the spectacle, is how everything in the attention economy always reinforces capitalist realism for us. Like, you have to understand capitalist realism to properly understand the spectacle, because you have to understand that everything under the spectacle is trying to reinforce the idea that only market logic can dictate anything about how society works. And like, that's... I must have paused like 100 times in this video already. This is so dire. I'm going to catch up on chat for a second. I'm going to take a breather because I was not expecting this to throw me out like this. Chat, I've been streaming for 2 hours so far. This is a job I am doing right now, and I get paid for this job when people decide to pay me for doing this job. So please, if you are enjoying the stream, consider paying for the stream. Or don't even consider, just fucking do it. I need money to live. Please use command tip and help me out. Let's catch up on chat for a second. And breathe. Okay. Willow Treason says, yeah, this is absolutely a white genocide argument. Yeah, it really feels like it is. By the same metrics as Okidir, do they think that immigrants shouldn't be allowed to work because it wouldn't count if they're not Germans? I'm sorry to just keep on bringing it back to the same exact thing over and over again, Hitler, but just like more jobs for hard-working Germans and German women having more babies were like absolutely central ideas to the Nazi platform. Then and now. I don't know. Kurzgesagt, right. Shirara says he doesn't even have to make his whole video. He can probably summarize it in less words, maybe 14 of them. Ginger with Envy says, there's such a deep hatred of old people, which is so saddening, because they aren't treating the elderly as people with who with good fortune us ourselves someday become. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's like, it's good, I think, that Germany has gone out of its way to preserve a standard of living for its old people by paying like so much into these pension funds and this stuff. I think that's a good, I think refusing to let old people down is actually a noble thing for a government to do. Living in a country, like I say this from a country where the winter fuel allowance that literally like stops old people from freezing to death over the winter was like cut by our government, like by our Labour government. Like this is just like there is some really troubling libertarian merging straight through into Nazi shit going on here. Oki Dear says, Sophie, I'm sketching you right now while we all collectively suffer. Hopefully it will ease the pain. That's very sweet of you. Thank you. I do like when people draw me. It's a cute time. Oh, Ren D says, God forbid people who can't work are allowed to live. I mean... all of this would be solved by a society where people have what they need and contribute what they can. I'm sure there is some German in history who has imagined a society at some point where people sort of, you know, to eat every person they get the stuff, and from everyone they give what they can. Something like that. I've not said it very well there, but hopefully, you know, there's someone out there who would have said it well. Maybe in German. Fuck. Okay, let's... Lewilly13 says, the thing is, even with our pension system, there are still so many retired people who are living in poverty. It's not like they are living in luxury over here. Yeah, like, that makes sense. That makes sense as well. Thank you for saying that. But it's just also like, this is definitely driven by an economic mode that seeks infinite growth. Like, this is definitely an issue of being locked into capitalism when it actually makes no fucking sense. Like, the natural progression after becoming as wealthy as the wealthy European nations and South Korea, Japan, America, Australia, New Zealand, like all of the imperial core nations, like became as wealthy as they became, and basically only Scandinavia did the reasonable thing and become a social democracy. Like, a society with a level of abundance that wealthy nations have should absolutely be pivoting to socialism, to communism, to a society where people have what they need and give what they can, because there's plenty, and that's the ideal time to reconfigure society into a shape where everyone's just taken care of and infinite growth is not required anymore, right? Like, move towards sustainability and stability. It will also be good for the environment, since this is a fucking science communication YouTube channel. Sorry, I'm going a little bit insane with this, to be honest. It's just the religious devotion to capital that is really the cause of all these problems again and again and again, always. It's so frustrating. Okay, I've calmed down a little bit. We're gonna jump back into it. Hopefully I can pause a little bit less, because I would like to get through this. I do actually have other stuff that I'm like planning to get onto after this. We got an incredibly dogshit article from Jonathan Chait as well. I cannot believe Kurzgesagt has gotten this right wing while still like holding on to the aesthetics of being like a chirpy, cutesy little wholesome liberal science channel. This is so crazy. What checks from Bill Gates do to a motherfucker? Speaking of which, I do not get checks from Bill Gates. So chat, please donate and support the stream if you're enjoying the stream. And VOD watchers, hello VOD watchers, hello on the VOD channel, hi. I haven't forgotten about you. I really appreciate all your lovely comments. I would really appreciate if you could check out the link down below to support my work. Okay, subscribe, cheer, donate, Patreon, all those things. I'm gonna try and get through this with relatively little pausing, because otherwise it's going to be like 5 hours. Ginger with Envy says, the reason they're targeting the elderly is also definitely because the retired are notably a group of people who don't generate money, and they've become obsessed with the government not as a way of meeting the needs of its people, but as a way to extract wealth from its people. Sorry, I've just seen Okie Deer describing it as bluey Nazi. Fucking hell. Oh my goodness, Lil Toasty X, thank you so much for the £30 donation with the message happy birthday. Thank you, that's really sweet of you. We're now a lot closer to the donor goal. We're now only £40 to go, which means that if everyone watching donated only £1, we would get past it. So small donations still matter a lot, and still make a difference. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Oh, Christ. It's just also, sorry, and I said we were going to do it, and I'm immediately struck by more stuff. The problem of boomers is a problem of people who are of a certain age and hold an amount of power. Someone, thank you so much for the £10 donation, no message. I really appreciate you, someone. It's not an issue... It's not just an issue of like, or rather, it's primarily not an issue of retirees who are entirely dependent on their pensions, right? Those are poor people. The issue of boomers, when you evoke the issue of boomers in politics, it is an issue of power holders. It is an issue of people who have been around for a long time and have been able to accumulate wealth and power and now have an enormous amount of leverage in society. And it's not just about their votes, right? It's about the, yeah, okay. You get it. Hopefully you get it. Chat, tell me if you don't get it, I'll pause again. I'll probably pause again anyway.
Baby boomers' lives are affected too. With unsustainable pension funds, inevitably millions of older Germans will have to work much longer than they thought. A retirement age of 70 or higher is already being discussed. Today, about 20% of German pensioners live in poverty, and that rate is all but guaranteed to increase significantly in the 2030s. Still, seniors and boomers in total own the vast majority of Germany's wealth.
Okay.
Germans are even arguing about to what extent the
But is that all the people who are dependent on their pensions? Because I don't think it is, right? Like, the people who own the vast majority of Germany's wealth are not the people who are living off their pensions, right? There's definitely a small minority of people, we know this, who own the vast majority of wealth in society, and that includes among the boomers. And targeting like the pensions is not actually proportionate and not actually responding to like who has that wealth, because the people who need the pensions to live, right, don't have that wealth.
costs of social systems have gotten out of hand.
Exactly, to distraction. Your math ain't mathing, Kurt. Exactly. The math ain't mathing. Fucking hell. Shirara says not all boomers. I mean, genuinely not all boomers. Like, it just... like a lot of people's frustration with boomers is frustration with people, elderly people in their own lives who are misinformed and have been, like, educationally left behind by a rapidly changing world, right? We are digital natives. We have grown up with technology that people who did not find very confusing and alarming and often misleading and often intentionally misleading, right? Look at AI. Look at the history since Nixon and before of deliberately trying to create an undereducated proletariat because that is one that's less likely to rebel and less likely to revolt. And AI is a reification of that. AI is the dumbing down of the proletariat in hard-coded fucking ones and zeros. Like, people's issues with boomers are often interpersonal ones based on people they know who are old and have been fed a bunch of annoying bullshit. But the structural issues with boomers are to do with a very small number of people who hold an enormous amount of power and are part of a political project that should be named here, right? The ruling class and the rapidly like fascifying leaders of like the Western world. They should be named here as the issue. It shouldn't be like boomers, people on pensions, and people, as I say, who hold most of the wealth in society are necessarily not the same people. They're necessarily not the same people.
Even in the height.
What Kurzgesagt has done here is by linking together the group through their age demographic, he's managed to like smuggle a people are taking too many benefits argument, people are taking too much welfare argument into sounding like it's a concerned progressive argument for the young against the right-wing boomer old population.
Tax country like Germany, there's plenty of wealth disparity and opportunities to tax the rich and take pressure off workers. Although, of course, the details are fiercely debated, so we'll not get into this right now. But the scale of the gap between what workers pay and what's needed to cover boomers' pensions is so enormous that even raising taxes would only buy a bit of time. And beyond pensions, the welfare and healthcare systems Germans rely upon may become unaffordable in the 2030s. The vast majority of healthcare costs occur during the last quarter of your life. So just as the healthcare workforce is shrinking due to demographics, the numbers of patients will explode. The waiting time for a specialist doctor is already months in the state healthcare system. Okay, but what about immigration? Whatever your opinion on immigration is, pro or against, please put it in a box and ignore it for a moment. We only want to look at it from one perspective. Can it solve the population crash? Let's look at the population again.
Okay. Okay, we're getting to an interesting point here because I said you can just, like, you have a lot of people immigrating. Surely, okay? And they've answered it in the video, so let's find out. Oh boy. That person says, are they not just lying about taxes? All of this is like insidiously playing in a space of like realism and like what can be done and what's feasible, when actually like the state, like, fucking, we make up society every day and we could just do it differently, right? Like, all of this is fucking Calvin Ball, but playing it like pretending it's just like incredibly serious and can only work in the ways that are dictated to be like realistic.
If a country's pyramid looks like this and you want to stabilize it at the bottom, immigration won't do that. For one, it doesn't actually make your country that much younger. In Germany, the birth rate of most of its immigrants isn't higher than the locals, and if new immigrants have more children, they tend to adjust to the rest of the population within 2 generations. Sure, immigration over the last few decades has delayed the coming crash, and in the transition period we'll run into serious worker shortfalls, especially in healthcare and nursing. So zero immigration doesn't seem wise or feasible. But there's a problem. If birth rates stay as low as they are, or go down even more, then the German population will continue to shrink. And to keep it stable, it would constantly need to be replenished by new immigrants, until they age and themselves need new immigrants to pay for their retirement. No matter if you think this is a good idea or not, it's not actually possible. Birth rates are crashing everywhere. Eventually, immigration around the world will slow down massively. The world is running out.
Damn, dude. Sounds like you need to change your economic mode of production. That's crazy. It sounds like you need a mode of production that isn't seeking infinite growth forever. Since the birth rates are leveling off, meaning that we'll have a stable population.
Of young people. So immigration can delay the issue a bit and ease the consequences, but that's it. Germany either has to solve its demographic crash or its welfare state and pension systems will break. Conclusion and opinion part. So how over is Germany?
Okay, let's review what they just said about immigration not being a viable solution to this. Frog Wizard, is he saying the world is running out of people? Kinda, yeah.
They tend to adjust to the rest of the population within 2 generations.
He must mean in birth rate terms?
Won't do that. For one, it doesn't actually make your country that much younger. In Germany, the birth rate of most of its immigrants isn't higher than...
Why are you... Sorry, I need to turn off the subtitles so I can see that properly. If your pyramid is structured like this, as in if there are too many young people, too many old people, and they're relying on the young, immigration won't solve that. Firstly, don't we all know that the majority of migrants are economic migrants, as in they're people who are working age and they're coming to a place to get a job and to work there? So necessarily, like, yes, it will in the immediate term. So, like, talking about birth rates is sleight of hand necessarily. Like, he's definitely, like, redirecting away from the thing that's very obviously the part of immigration that is a solution to this problem.
Stabilize it at the bottom, immigration won't do that. For one, it doesn't actually make your country that much younger.
It doesn't make your country that much younger, but it does have a positive effect. You're saying definitively it has a positive effect. You're just saying it falls short, which again, the solution then is to change your mode of production.
Germany, the birth rate of most of its immigrants...
And then we get to here, 1.2 for German citizens, and then 1.8 for non-German citizens. So the thing he's saying and the thing on screen are not, like, matching up?
Isn't higher than the locals. And if new immigrants have more children, they tend to adjust... Isn't higher to make your country that much younger. In Germany, the birth rate of most of its immigrants isn't higher than the locals. And if new...
He just literally said the opposite of what was on screen. I know that 1.8 versus 1.2 isn't lots higher, but it is literally higher. 1.8 is higher than 1.2.
Immigrants have more children, they tend to adjust to the rest of the population within 2 generations. Sure, immigration over the last few decades has delayed the coming crash.
On that last bit, I have to assume he means in terms of birth rate, which, by the way, he was saying fertility rate at the start of the video, I think because everyone would have sniffed it out immediately if he was talking about birth rates from the get-go. But he just started saying birth rates at this point, and it's just incredibly straightforwardly like, we see what he's doing here. This is insane to watch. This is, like, beyond insane to watch. Within 2 generations, they adjust to the rest of the population. Yes, people assimilate into a population that they've immigrated to generationally, and so I guess if we're talking about... he must be talking about the birth rate there. So then, okay, then I can follow through his logic about you would have to be bringing in more immigration all the time, but, like, it's not a whether or not question the way that AfD and Kurzgesagt both pose it. Fucking insane sentence to be saying. It is inevitable that Germany will continue to have immigration. Like, this is a really bizarre thing about far-right politics in the imperial core, is that they talk constantly as if a society with no immigration is in any way possible, and actually like immigrants are an exploited class in racial capitalism that our entire society depends on. They don't want for immigrants to stop coming to a country. They want for immigrants to not have any rights in the country. They want a slave class, right? Like, oh Christ. I think I can now follow his logic about there would need to continually be immigration, but there will continue to be immigration because there just always has throughout history always been immigration from one place to another. Especially to one of the wealthiest countries, as he already said Germany is. I'm sorry I'm still stuck on this fucking video, guys.
And in the transition period, we'll run into serious
So
worker
insane,
shortfalls,
this.
especially in healthcare and nursing. So zero immigration doesn't seem wise or feasible. But there's a problem. If birth rates stay as low as they are, or go down even more, then the German...
If we follow what he said logically, immigration is incredibly necessary and must happen, right? And if we follow what he said emotively, like, immigration is fine, I guess. Like, in terms of the language he used just now and the way that, like, he was weighting different positions, you would get the impression that immigration is, like, okay, kind of fine. But, like, logically, he's actually outlined in numbers, and especially on screen as opposed to the voiceover, that immigration is a good thing for the problem as he's described it, but not completely the total solution, which, again, change your mode of production. Fuck.
population will continue to shrink. And to keep it stable, it would constantly need to be replenished by new immigrants, until they age and themselves need new immigrants to pay.
I'm wary of doing this too much in this response here, in the watching of this video. What I'm about to say, I'm worried I've already done it too much, but this graphic on screen right here is the Great Replacement. Right? Can we see that? Can everyone see this, right? At the top, that's Germans dying. At the bottom, this is immigrants coming in. Right? Right? You see what this is, right? We all see this?
Replenished by new immigrants, until they age and themselves need new immigrants to pay for their retirement.
That's fine.
No matter if you think this is a good idea or not, it's not actually possible. Birth rates are crashing everywhere. Eventually, immigration around the world will slow down massively. The world is running out of young people. So, immigration can delay the issue
I hate this fucking dude so much.
a bit and ease the consequences, but that's it. Germany either has to solve its demographic crash or its welfare state and pension systems will break. Conclusion and opinion part. So, how over is Germany?
Not at all. Not in any way. What the fuck are you on about?
The demographic crisis is the greatest danger to German living standards and social cohesion. And
If instead of having poppy synthesizer music behind it and a cartoon bird in front of your eyes when he said that, right? Let's just actually, like, let's just have it on screen for a second, right? try and ignore the cartoon here, right? Just visually cast this out of your eyes a little bit, okay? And let's just have just the sentence, just the words purely, right? And imagine a German politician saying this sentence, presumably in German, right? And then just try and maybe have a think about what kind of goals the politician would be trying to guide the audience towards and what policies they might have. So here's the sentence, right? The demographic crisis is the greatest danger to German living standards and social cohesion. Let's just get that there. Oh, the demographic crisis is the greatest danger to German living standards and social cohesion. Oh, fuck me, dude. I just genuinely, I have been struck down by my hubris here. Like, I really was like, they're not gonna say anything, anything that's gonna surprise me. Uh, the demographic crisis is the greatest danger to German living standards and social cohesion. Full stop. Self-contained sentence. No caveats. That's the whole thing there. I'm kind of out of words at this point, to be honest.
Demographic crisis is the greatest danger to German living standards and social cohesion. And the same crisis is unfolding in all Western countries. Things are about to escalate in Germany, Italy, France and Poland, but the same issues are also on the horizon in the US, Argentina or Canada. The reality
How casually earlier in the video they floated the idea that some people think there should be less people anyway, and that's just, maybe that's fine.
Nobody wants to talk about is that solving the demographic crisis will be very painful. It will require sacrifices from everyone, and politicians seem incapable of addressing it honestly.
You have hallucinated a problem from statistics.
But to solve the demographic crisis for real, something no nation has done successfully so far might mean doing things that are intensely unpopular with older voters. Instead of spending 25% of Germany's entire budget on the elderly, especially the wealthiest among them, we could invest more of it in families, paying for housing and childcare, and making it an amazing deal to have a big family. More than anything, our attitude to kids and families needs to change. Demographics move slowly, but then unstoppably. The next few decades will be rough, but our societies can decide just how rough, and what kind of societies will emerge on the other side. Making this video was hell.
Good. Sorry, fuck. Why are you showing me yourself choking the chicken now? Fuck off. God damn. Oh my god. Germany is over. There is a demographic crisis. The demographic crisis is the biggest danger to social cohesion. What was it again? Social cohesion and German living standards. And the solution is to cut welfare. Dude, I'm like, what do you even say at that point? Hey Bram, welcome to the chat. I can see you're a first-time chatter. It's nice to have you here. Welcome to the stream. Oh fuck. Vodrella says the end is just them saying we remade the script a lot of times, so you know we must be correct. Yeah, absolutely classic. Oh my god. I cannot believe that. I'm genuinely in shock about this. That was so much. Hello from Middle East. Hey Bram, welcome to the stream. Nice to have you here. Okidia says, Nazi for kids, propaganda made easy for your little one to consume. I'm so... Fucking hell. Chat, what did you think of that video? This is the part where we discuss what we thought of the thing that we just watched or read. That's what we do in this section of the stream. While you're typing your thoughtful comments about what we just looked at, I would like to encourage everyone to support the stream. If you've been enjoying the stream, if you've been enjoying watching this stuff with me and hanging out with me today, if we hit the dono goal today, which is only £30 away, then we will add an extra bonus stream onto the stream schedule next month, where we'll play some video games and have a nice chill time, not exposing ourselves to any cognito hazards. I'd like to remind everyone that I'm trying to raise money for my birthday, which is at the start of next month. That's why the dono goal is higher than it usually is. Usually it'd be 150 per stream with a 600 monthly goal, and this time it's 200 per stream with a 800 goal across the month, because I'm going to be turning 30 and I'm really hoping to be able to take a little trip to New Zealand, where I was born, for my birthday, shortly after my birthday. So please support the stream if you're enjoying the stream, if you're a fan of the stream, if you enjoy the stream and I give you stuff to think about here. I'm just doing the promo while I'm giving people time to type out their chat messages. But please use command tip. You can subscribe on Twitch or cheer on Twitch, or you can use !tip to donate directly. Or if you're a VOD viewer, hello VOD viewers, and you want to support my work, you can go... Nat's here! Can I play more of your voice message? Is that okay? I started listening to it and then you were saying about them talking about migrants making houses unavailable, and I was like, oh, we haven't even got to that part of the video yet because I keep on pausing because this is driving me completely insane. All right, we're gonna listen to Nat's take. I've asked everyone in the chat for their take on the video we just watched, and Nat actually already sent me this take, so we're just gonna listen to this for a few minutes. Okay.
I hate these guys. I hate them. So a few points. Obviously, he brings up migrants as a cause of declining availability of housing, without reflecting for a second on the fact of that migrants replacing population, keeping young workforce up relative to the rest of the country, obviously. It drives me fucking crazy when I was thinking watching this, I was remembering a video where they were talking about some of the subject, they were happy talking about the science, what they thought was their unbiased perspective on the science, then it got into the obvious political arena, and there were many different opinions. We can't say if good things are good or bad things are bad. And then he does the same. This is such a wildly, hideously brain dead political video, and then it gets into and he's just gone. Has raised the high tax rate as an issue for young people, especially the high, the over 50% for the highest earning bracket. So obviously they're not struggling to live. And then when it gets to dealing with how to redistribute so that younger and working class people have resources is that's a political issue. We won't get into that now about taxes and things. It's just so scummy and cowardly. Also, I've been seeing more and more this idea of this palming off of the cause of the issues not being about the wealthy hoarding resources, but framing it as older generations hoarding resources and being greedy, and that's why younger generations are struggling. I've seen this multiple times elsewhere. I listened to a interview with Louis Theroux interviewing Jimmy Carr, and that dude is hanging out with Peter Thiel, I can't remember I think it was specifically Peter Thiel, but some of the crazy scary billionaire guys, and he starts saying Louis Theroux asks him, because obviously Jimmy Carr was infamous, he got in a lot of public trouble for evading taxes. I think it was probably the legal version, not the criminal version. I don't know, evasion or avoidance. I don't know which one it was. And that kind of gets brought up in the interview, and he starts talking about he's trying to be he obviously sees it as a problem that young people don't have the resources they need, and his reflection is it's not about, you know, rich and poor, it's about older people hoarding too much resources, and that there should be like programs to give younger people like stuff for free and like opportunities and things, and that this should be coming, you know, that stuff should be redistributed from the older generations, not from the rich to the poor, but just based on age. And I'm seeing this as so grim. Makes you think of Red Mars when they talk about like
That's what I was gonna
dividing
say.
lines that society gets carved up by, you know, including by age, all the wars fought along all these different dividing lines and never just consolidating around rich and poor. Anyway, I hate them.
Thank you, Nat. I really appreciate the thoughts there. Oh my god, I'm so like. That was exactly. So, firstly, that's exactly what I was like waiting to say the whole message. So it's funny that you said that. Like there is this chat for those who don't know this. There's a bit in the Mars trilogy where they're like one of the characters is looking at what's happening on Earth or has been happening over the last few decades on Earth, and it's like there's this really bizarre like set of conflicts happening across all the societies of Earth, where like men and women are fighting each other, and like different like racial groups are fighting each other, and the old and the young are fighting each other, and it's like really obviously absent. Like what's really noticeably absent is the poor and the rich, and like um there's plenty that explicitly focuses on like the rich and the poor, because like ultimately it's a story of communist revolution, but it's just this really like strikingly like captured society being described in this moment in history where like no one is organizing around the right thing, and this is that's one of the main thoughts I was having about this video, is the way that it's like hallucinating this problem out of statistics that have their roots in other systems, in other real problems that you could really look at, but like we just can't we cannot look at those problems ever. That's not allowed ever. What was the thing I was gonna say? A really useful thing to compare this to in Kurzgesagt's history is their trajectory on climate change, right? Because like they are a science communication channel, and just like with all the science communication channels who took money from Bill Gates, when it comes to climate change, they start engaging in soft climate denial because they pretend they need to in order to flatter the ego of like the good billionaire who still was pals with Jeffrey Epstein. They have to say like capitalism is inevitable, there is no alternative, you can't possibly imagine socialism, you can't change your mode of production, that can't be the solution. And this is where the spinning box fans come from, the little cartoon box fans that are just going to suck the carbon out of the air and solve the problem. Like that is unscientific. It's a nonsense. Like they're selling a complete nonsense, and they're doing it, and as I say, engaging in soft climate denial because they can't reckon with what the real problem is. And the exact same thing is happening here, right? Like there's going to be a serious problem in the coming years of there not being enough people, because is telling us, working and that working age to do the amount of labor that's required in society. So, could we change the amount of labor that's required in society? No, never. That's not allowed. You can't think about that. That's, don't look behind the curtain. Like this is the fundamental law of spectacle. You must never, ever question market logic, ever. And it's absolutely fascinating seeing it undergo this transformation in what the liberal slop writers have identified as the post-liberal age, right? Like the the idea of like free association mediated by capital as the underpinning rule of society is out the fucking window, right? We recognize that we must have a centralized something, right? We need state authority to intervene in one way or another. Look at this. Nat's got so worked up. Oh, sweetie. Okay, Nat says, exactly, we must maintain the bullshit jobs because people need to pay rent. We can't provide more resources to essential workers, although you actually said essential wokers. I'm the woker, baby. We can't provide more resources to essential workers because there's too many old people. I hate them. No, that's exactly it. Like, that is exactly precisely it, right? Also, I hope that everyone's been enjoying having a Nat segment of this stream. I'm certainly enjoying it a lot. I'm gonna turn into the fucking Joker. Yeah, exactly. I've already turned into the Woker because Southwark Council has lost its Labour majority and is now part Labour and part Green. My goodness! The woke Greens! There's a Green Mayor of Lewisham, there's a Green Mayor of Haringey. My goodness. What am I saying here? Okay. There is a relatively small amount of labor that is required for society to basically function, right? If people had the houses that they lived in, right? And ownership could work in several different ways there, but if people were not paying money to live in a house, either to a bank or to a landlord, they just lived there. The amount of labor required for the upkeep of houses, relatively speaking, very small compared to the amount of labor that people are currently putting in to earn money to pay for the houses that they live in. If people had utilities and food provided to them, right? The labor that would go in would only be the labor required to provide those things to people, which crucially in our society is being done anyway, right? Like, think about that. The labor is being done anyway to provide that stuff to people. It's just that if they aren't also doing labor to earn money to buy those essential things they need to live, right? Then they don't get the thing. Because the tap gets turned off, the big valve. The amount of labor needed for our society to basically function is far smaller than the amount of labor being done. And we saw that during the pandemic. We literally all saw it. So, hey Joe, lovely to have you here. We all saw during the pandemic the amount of labor required to keep society functioning is far smaller than the amount of labor being done. Okay? This means that, necessarily, a lot of society's labor being done currently is unnecessary, strictly speaking, and it could instead not happen, or happen if people felt like doing it, and felt like there was a really good reason to do it. Nat says, and we saw the environment improve at the same time. Literally the first page of Bill Gates' book. He's just like, things have been getting worse and worse for the environment. Oh, except during the pandemic for some reason. I really need people to get, like, this is something that I think that eco-socialists should be leaning on more in terms of communicating to the masses about why they should be on board with our program. One of the crucial things that we all need to do to save the planet is work less, not more. Like, the overall labor we all could be doing, on average, dramatically less. We could all be working dramatically less and society could be better for it. Like, all of this is in service of the eldritch god of capital, which doesn't care about us and actively wants some of us dead, right? Okay, I'm going to read through some of the chat, and then we're going to move on to Jonathan Chait. It's chat, then Chait. That's what we're doing. Everyone, please consider paying for the stream if you've been enjoying the stream. We have only £30 to go to hit the dono goal today, and I've been streaming for 3 hours already, so please, please, please consider paying for the stream if you are enjoying the stream, if you've had a thought-provoking time here, which I really hope that you have. Okay, let's read some chat. We've got lots of people comparing Kurzgesagt to Nazis, which I can't argue against because I would be throwing stones from a glass house, because I've just been comparing this dude to Hitler over and over again because of the words he was saying with his mouth. Oh, let me just conclude a thought from earlier. It's worth comparing that to the climate change arc that they had, right, where they are a science communication channel, and they started saying stuff that was anti-science because of an ideological interest that they couldn't perceive. And the same thing has happened here. They've pretended that they're not being political because they can't quite see how they're being political. You know, sie wissen das nicht, aber sie tun es. But they're being very political. They're being very ideological in what they're saying when they're saying to, like, slash welfare to the elderly. Nightmare. Cooking Calamity, thank you for subscribing. You are now a tier 1 subscriber to Sophie from Mars. That means you have a bunch of cool emotes now, as well as the going lib slop mode, basic follower emotes. You can now go all sorts of other modes. You can go Ezra Klein mode. I've got a Space Lenin there. You could go Space Lenin mode. You got CIA Femboy. You got so many cool emotes now that you're a tier 1 subscriber. Congratulations. Ro the Fairthing Lion says Nat Rage was very nostalgic. It's an essential part of a Kurzgesagt Libslop episode. We had a message from Lorcan saying Red Mars mentioned, very true. Message from LoWilly13, who is our German in chat right now. I think the point of the video... Oh, did I just pin something? I didn't mean to do that. The science is still out on Nazism. Oh no. This is my fault for not knowing how Twitch controls work properly. The Willy13 says, I think the point of the video is to get Germans to be ready for hypernationalism again. It is sadly a big thing with our Green Party here as well, who are not saying stuff like that they are the real who are saying stuff like that they are the real patriots and not AFD. Fuck, that's crazy. Okay. So this is just indicative of a broader, like, absolutely insane shift. Okay. All right, well, you know, thank you for the warning. We can all be aware. We can all be ready. Ro the Fairthing Lion says, donated during the Nat recording. Thank you, I appreciate that. Ro tipped £1. Thank you for the £1 donation message. To contribute some joy, can confirm from Lionland, they do in fact say rara when nuzzling. That's really cute. Thank you for telling me that. What was I gonna say? Yes, Ro tipped only £1. Chat, if everyone watching right now tipped only £1, we would go significantly over the dono goal. Like, even just £1 makes a big difference, and honestly, I've said this before, but it's true. Like, it is my favorite thing when there's a stream of, like, very small donos, because I know that no one has put out, you know, a big amount, but people are, but we are able to get, like, it's the power of working together, right? It's communism here on the stream. Gay Potato 1312, thank you so much for the £2 donation. Fucking, here we go. Collective chat action. It's working. Message, I have to go soon, but I wanted to express my appreciation for these streams, Sophie. To live in a world where migration is seen as a beautiful and natural thing. Absolutely. This is it. This is what we need. Catgirl Steph, thank you so much for subscribing as well. Meow, what's up, homie sensuals? See you in the VOD. Hey, Steph. There's another message from Nat. Some of the people not being forced to do bullshit that's bad for everyone for the sake of paying landlords could in fact be caring for the elderly, and those elderly And those elderly, when not excluded from society by systems of work and rent and poverty, could be caring for their youngest too. Absolutely. Yes. Yes, literally exactly this. Okie dear, thank you so much for the £5 donation. It's working. Everyone, it's working. Oh shit, it's working! Middle Earth Marxist, thank you for the £1 donation. Will roar for slop. That's the sign I'm holding all the time. Okie dear tipped £5 and said, a little more, because yeah, let's unlearn being work slaves together. Thank you so much, Okie dear, I really appreciate that. Nat's other message said, this dude is Malthus and is very convinced that there are too many Africans but not enough Germans. That's what I was saying! Too many Africans and not enough Germans. Literally, like, how the fuck? Like, also, in this video, he has a graph where, like, the birth rate for Africa is going down. But he hasn't taken down the video where he said that there was a population explosion in Africa and that was a problem. But he has taken down the one where he said that if you take drugs and all your needs are met, you'll be fine. Because there wasn't enough evidence. So you can have contradictory claims on the channel sometimes, but not others. It's interesting. Morrigan says we're charging the spirit bomb. Exactly. Exactly. Okay. Okay, chat. Chat, it's time for chate. I'm so sorry about this, but it's chate time. It's only a short chate, but we need to chate up the video we just watched with a bit of Jonathan. Jonathan Chait, of all the liberal slop writers, I think has one of the most appropriate names. It's almost onomatopoeic to the thing that he does. You know, he just chates. We've read some really bad takes from Jonathan Chait recently. I already know this one's gonna make chat very mad. Honestly, as soon as I show you like the title and the thumbnail together, I think it's gonna kick off. Okay, here's Jonathan Chait. Also, if you're enjoying the stream, please subscribe or cheer. I donate directly using command tip. Okay. Progressive activists are sometimes on the wrong side of history. And there's a Palestine flag. Thinking otherwise can enable the left's worst instincts, as a speech at the University of Michigan's commencement showed, by Jonathan Chait. Chat, are you ready? Because I turned out to super not be ready for that Kurzgesagt video, so it's worth asking. Oh, Christ. Jonathan Taint. This is gonna be so normal. Yeah. Think I hate this guy, spelled H-A-I-T. Help me. I'm trapped in the slop factory. Okay. Alright. Should we get into it? Okay. The debate over... Sorry, it's already fucked. It's fucked 2 words in. Okay. The debate over Israel's war with Hamas has been unusually vicious in Ann Arbor, Michigan. The debate over Israel's war with Hamas has been unusually vicious in Ann Arbor, Michigan, where pro-Palestine activists have vandalized, spat on, and menaced targets they deemed too Zionist. Cheat me up! Okay. At the University of Michigan's graduation ceremony, on an unseasonably chilly Saturday morning in front of some 70,000 spectators, including me, my wife, and our parents. They vandalized people and spat on walls. Definitely. To Distraction, thank you so much for the £5 donation, no message. I really appreciate that. Chat, we are so close now. We're literally, we've halved it. We're only £15, 16, yeah, £15, 7 pence away from the goal. Including me, my wife, and our parents, the historian and faculty senate chair Derek Peterson instructed the crowd that the moral and just position in this dispute belonged entirely to one side. Isn't that crazy, guys? Isn't that nuts? Imagine someone saying that there's only one moral side in the war between Israel and Hamas. Whoa. Dude, come the fuck on. Okay. That side, ironically, is the one responsible for nearly all the intimidation in Ann Arbor. Isn't that crazy? The side of the argument in the Imperial Core where the war is coming from, they're doing all the mean stuff trying to stop it in the place where it's coming from. Isn't that crazy? This is something that the Atlantic felt comfortable publishing 3 days ago, by the way. This isn't like an old thing. This isn't before the UN resolution calling it genocide or anything. This is 3 days ago. The greatness of this university rests also on the courage and the conviction of student activists who have pushed this university down the path towards justice, Peterson said, citing, quote, the pro-Palestinian student activists who have over the past 2 years opened our hearts to the injustice and inhumanity of Israel's war in Gaza. Uh-huh. Whether the activists have opened their hearts to their position or had the opposite effect. Whether the activists have opened hearts to their position or had the opposite effect, a possibility for which there is at least some evidence. Classic Chait move here, saying something that just underscores how ridiculous what you're saying, like, implicitly is. Like, a possibility there is at least some evidence. Like, I know this is meant to be litotes, right? It's supposed to be like using deliberate understatement, but like no, man. Americans have shifted to overall be more sympathetic to Palestinians than to Israelis in the conflict for the first time in fucking history, right? There is overwhelming evidence that people support Palestinians and oppose what Israel is doing and find it repulsive. And also the UN said it's genocide. Why are you still arguing this? So for you to say, there's at least some evidence it's the other way around, it's just like, come on. All right. Whether activists have opened hearts to their position or had the opposite effect is a matter of debate. Not really. But debate is the very thing Peterson wishes to preclude. In his brief speech, he recounted how women, Jews, and African Americans pushed for needed social change at the university, and he described today's Palestinian activists as a continuation of this virtuous history. The theme was that progressive activists inherently occupy the right side of history. These masses of people hostile to enabling genocide have pissed a few people off. Clearly they're failing in their goals. It's so insane. It's so insane, right? Like, to say, oh no, they're doing intimidation, it's like, bro, that's the idea? Like, that's the idea? We are trying to get you to stop doing a thing that is wrong? Like, we're trying to use preventative violence here. We're trying to weigh in to a thing that's happening and is ongoing and is really fucking evil and make it stop happening. This is so fucked. Okay. Like, whether the activists have open hearts to their position or had the opposite effect, like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to reverse position on this a little bit. Maybe there is a debate there. Maybe there is some debate over whether they have opened hearts to their position. But, like, if this guy's speech says that the primary effect is they've opened people's hearts to their position, it's okay for him to just be wrong about some stuff, you know? Like, one person's speech is not representative of all of the facets of the movement. and a guy can just have bad analysis sometimes. But like, but like, all the data does point to people in America shifting to an anti-Israeli position. Like, this is so nuts. Okay. The theme was that progressive activists inherently occupy the right side of history. This is a common view on the left, one that sometimes leads progressives who recoil from activists' specific positions or actions to withhold disapproval. The left's reverence for activism is a pathology that can enable the movement's worst ideas and instincts to escape scrutiny. Imagine Agent Smith saying this. You know? Just specifically this sentence. Despite that, Peterson walked the Michigan Stadium crowd through a narrative that is familiar to any liberal and to nearly any recent graduate of a prestigious university. Equality was not handed down by benevolent leaders, he suggested. Sorry. Are you saying it was? Jonathan Chait has an immense amount of this energy, like, all the time. Just, like, in everything he says, he's just like, guys, I have the stupidest thing you've ever heard. I need everyone to stop right now and listen to me on this. What if Palestine are the ones who are wrong? It's like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Okay. Crikey. Chat, we are super close to the dono goal, and I've been streaming for 3.5 hours. We have £15 to go. I am sure that among 46 people watching, we can get £15 into the dono bar. Okay. And if we do, by the way, we're going to unlock an extra bonus stream for next month where we'll play some video games and hang out and chill and not have to read any chat. Okay. Where were we? Equality was not handed down by benevolent leaders, he suggested, but demanded by brave activists who defied social condemnation. Is Jonathan Chait about to try and rewrite the civil rights movement? Like, this here, like, equality was not handed down by benevolent leaders, he suggested, but demanded by brave activists who defied social condemnation. Does this guy just have insane Camelot brain? Right? Like, we do these good things because they're good things to do, and I actually really like black people, But that's not how it went, bud. That's not American history. American history Chait. All right. Their critics may have disparaged their causes and perhaps their methods at the time, but history has proved them correct. Chat, come on. Can we frame this one? Can we frame this sentence? I'd like to present this sentence physically to Jonathan Chait. It's just, their critics have disparaged their causes and perhaps their methods at the time. That's you. That's you right now. But history has proved them correct. What the fuck? What the fuck? This is insane. I can't believe he's actually written this sentence in this article. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to have a drink. This is like, I their critics may have disparaged their causes and perhaps their methods at the time, but history has proven them correct. Yes! Comrade Chait, yes! He's beginning to believe. Fuck. Lorcan says, we've found someone who has less self-awareness than ChatGPT. They said it couldn't be done. Lorcan! ChatGPT! Oh my god. I'm fucking losing it. Cooking Calamity, thank you so much for the... Cooking Calamity, thank you so much for the £1 donation, no message. J. Robert Sloppenheimer, thank you so much for the £3 donation, slop 'em up. This one here, it's just this one, right? This is too much. This right here is way too fucking much. Oh my god. The slop defies satire. It's this one. I mean it. We should frame this one. This one is an all-timer. This is a Hall of Famer we have in front of us right here. This is like one of the sloppiest articles. Okay. Their critics may have disparaged them, their causes, and perhaps their methods at the time, but history proved them correct. It follows, therefore, that their modern heirs will eventually be seen as equally just. I've had versions of this argument thrown back at me nearly every time I've criticized any progressive activist group. It's too much, dude. It's way too much. Oh my god. Oh, Christ. Okay. Hey, Beck. Welcome back. Hi, Beck and Willow. Lovely to have you back again. Oh, fucking Jonathan Chait's gonna kill me. I swear to God. I can't, like... Oh, fuck. Okay. One flaw with this account is that it is selective. Over the past 2 years, many Michigan students have marched or chanted in support of Israel. Many, huh? But Peterson excluded them from his litany of activists blessed by the legacy of righteous protest. This doesn't conflict with anything you've said so far. You literally got... Okie Dear says, keep the £1 tip train going. Yes, absolutely, chat. Listen, if everyone watching right now did command tip and then tipped just £1, we would sail past the donor goal. We're so nearly there. And there's 52 people watching. We would sail past it. Please, please, please use command tip and just tip £1. That's all you need to do. Okay. This here, like, there are Israeli, there were, pro-Israel marches. This doesn't conflict with this idea here because those aren't progressives. Like... The actual argument made by Peterson and others is for deference not to students in general, but specifically to progressive student activists. Yeah, man. Like, progressivism is an ideology and position. Like, progressivism is a position in politics. Student is an identity. There is nothing inherently good or right about students. Why? What? And even this one-sided deference suffers from a survivorship bias of sorts. Okay, here we go, Chait. Let's lock the fuck in. I feel like we're finally getting to the argument here. Progressives believe that activists are on the right side of history because they choose to remember the causes that fared well. But activists on the left have not always acted with wisdom and foresight. Left-wing demonstrators also marched against aid to the Allies in the 1940s, to block nuclear power in the 1970s, and in defense of totalitarian regimes during the Cold War. Okay, there's kind of a lot going on there, isn't there? Because, like, for the one thing, marching against joining World War II, from the American perspective, was an incredibly complicated issue. Like, it was actually an incredibly complicated issue, and there were definitely some people who were coming at it not from a non-interventionist peace platform perspective, but from a Nazi perspective. But whether American, like, fucking kids should go overseas and fight and die, that is a complicated issue, even if it's opposing the Nazis. And given that this is Jonathan Chait, I feel like there's maybe a little bit more to this than is passed into his description. Like how he defines left wing. But hang on. To block nuclear power in the 1970s? Like, oh, someone, thank you so much for the £6 donation. I really appreciate that. Everyone, we are so nearly there right now. We are like so nearly at the dono goal. To blocking nuclear power, like, nuclear power isn't an unalloyed good. There are obvious problems with nuclear power that have become more obvious since then. With Chernobyl and Fukushima, like, this isn't a slam dunk. Right? Like, leftists have been against nuclear power sometimes. Yeah, leftists have a variety of opinions, you know? And as for in defense of totalitarian regimes during the Cold War, nah, bro. You have no power here. Like, buddy, that's not... You just got nothing there. Okay. The assumption that progressive activists are inherently on the side of justice elevates them above the category of mere political actors into a kind of priestly class whom others can only learn from and can never criticize. It redirects any scrutiny of their positions to general admiration for their idealism and passion. Yeah, like, there might be some points you could be making here. Like this, there might be a bit of a point here, if you weren't talking about a genocide that, like, everyone in the world agrees is a genocide and the fucking UN agrees is a genocide. Like, if you were talking about some, like, specifics of issues in the movement, with people thinking that they are, like, inherently good people and therefore being blind to where their behaviors can be harmful to each other, yeah, man, we can have a productive conversation about that. But you're talking about the IDF, a force that, like, used drones to fucking play the sounds of suffering children to lure people out so they could be shot by snipers. You're talking about a force that uses, like, sexual violence and torture at a rate almost unseen so far in history. You are talking about an ungodly, kidnapping, rape, torture, and murder machine. And you are saying... These progressive activists think they're all that. They think they're so good and will always be on the right side of history. And it's like, yeah, man, in the abstract, that argument might hold some water. In this specific one, you have chosen, like, this is like... taking the fight here is like when Jake Paul decided to fight a real boxer. Like, this is not the fight you should be picking in particular. Concern and empathy for Palestinian suffering and anger at Israel's excessive counterattack. Nah, dude. That's not what it's called, is it? Nah, dude. Cheat. Nah, come on now. Concern and empathy for Palestinian suffering and anger at Israel's excessive counterattack are admirable. It's like they fucking slipped on a banana peel and killed 70,000 people and displaced 700,000 people from their land. But the movement's ambition is not limited to that. Michigan's pro-Palestine activism is primarily organized by Students Allied for Freedom and Equality, which is the local chapter of Students for Justice in Palestine, a national network. Both the national group and its Michigan chapter have endorsed the October 7th, 2023 attacks. Die mad about it, Jonathan Chait, you fucking dickhead. They've endorsed the attacks? uh-huh. It's literally another Jonathan Chait article. He linked himself. He just linked himself. It's just another Jonathan Chait. It's fucking Ouroboros of Jonathan Chait. Oh my god. Nat says, talking about people protesting the US government participating in genocide like he's talking about vegan cheese. It's really bad. Jonathan Chait is the fucking goat. I swear to God. Fucking hell. This rocks, dude. Well, I can just no longer, like, I no longer have to, it's good because it makes my job easier. I no longer have to, like, investigate into whether that group really endorsed the October 7th attacks. Like, I just don't have to. Adult progressives' insistence on viewing their activities as mere youthful idealism makes it impossible to question those positions. Buddy, come on. Also, speaking of the UN, right? According to UN law, a territory or people who are under occupation are allowed to use whatever means, including violence, to fight back. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that fucking crazy? Doesn't that mean that according to UN law, it was a completely legitimate attack by Hamas against the settlers, who are, again, people who've chosen to move to the Middle East and live in stolen homes on stolen land, right? Chat, we are so close to the donation goal right now. Please subscribe or cheer or donate directly using command tip if you've been enjoying the stream, if you're enjoying the stream currently. I really hope that you are. I don't know why you're sticking around if you're not. So please use command tip. Even small donors make a big difference because we're so close now. All right. All right. There's only two more paragraphs. Here. Two more paragraphs of Chait to get through. Explore more topics. Israel, Michigan. All right. The activists themselves have absorbed the historical justice narrative, concluding that they are entitled to take whatever steps they see fit to advance their cause. Many campus chapters have seized common space for themselves, an action that no group is allowed. Come on, bud. Buddy, come on. He is now claiming his issue with the Palestine camps, the Palestine encampments on universities, is that they're taking common spaces. Dude, come on. That's like an actively nice thing about them, that people are getting together to like organize around their beliefs and share space and be in community and spend time together while protesting. Like, that's just a Middle Earth Marxist says, unless they're Israeli settlers, right? Yeah, man, imagine a bunch of people just showing up one day and just taking the land. Wouldn't that be crazy? This is so fucking nuts. Okay. If the crew team, a fraternity, or some local MAGA fans occupied a chunk of grass that belongs to the whole community, they would be evicted quickly. Michigan's activists did this and also repeatedly intimidated targets at their homes, including throwing a jar filled with urine through the window of the Democratic Regent Jordan Acker's house. Fucking slay, that's so cool. Oh. Okay, chat, I'm gonna need, you know what, actually, okay, VOD viewers, if you pause the VOD now, you go to a new tab in YouTube, VOD viewers, you just type in these words for me, urine speaks louder than words, and you have a listen to the song, you have a listen to the song that comes up. Okay. Most causes have adherents who get carried away. Buddy, come on. Most causes have adherents who get carried away, but not every cause does so with the encouragement of professors who cast them as angels of justice by mere dint of the category of action they are taking. Peterson was lecturing an audience of graduates and their families. Much like the activists he praised, he was commandeering a common space intended to belong to the entire university community on behalf of a narrower, contested segment of it. In so doing, he demonstrated a belief in the immutable righteousness of one's own side. He demonstrated how a belief in the immutable righteousness of one's own side can be a license to abuse power. Oh. I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. I'm actually just gonna do it starting right now. We're literally starting right now. I'm just gonna fucking, we've got a new sticky note, okay? It's going here. We're going Hall of Fame slop articles. Okay? First ever official, and I've said this before, so I should maybe try and go back and find out where I've said this before and add it, but I haven't done that. But okay. First ever official Hall of Fame slop article. Progressive activists are sometimes on the wrong side of history. I promise I am not going to be doing this regularly. This is a fucking special article right here. This is so special, okay? All right. Let's go. So we got, that's by, of course, how could I not include, this is by Jonathan Chait. All right, and let's just, as well as that, I'm just gonna have that one sentence. The one sentence that made me say we should frame this. Okay. Oh my goodness. Their critics may have disparaged their causes and perhaps their methods at the time, but history has proved them correct. This is so cool, dude. This is so fucking funny. Okay, there we go. We have our first ever official Hall of Fame slop article. Progressive activists are sometimes on the wrong side of history. Jonathan Chait. You did it, Jonathan. You did it. Oh my god. Oh, fucking hell. Cooking Calamity, thank you so much for the £1 donation. I was here for the first Hall of Famer. Wahoo! Frey, thank you so much for the £5 donation. No message. Oh my goodness, we've hit the dono goal, everyone. Woo! Okay. Oh my god. Okay. We're adding an extra bonus stream onto the schedule for next month. We're going to have more gaming streams. I am probably going to give it another go trying to stream the new Resident Evil game. But I have been playing some Katamari Damacy, so if that doesn't work, it'll be more Katamari Damacy. Lil Toasty X, welcome to the chat. Somehow I knew this was the stream to log back into my Twitch account for. You knew! You were just on the wavelength. You were just astrally tuned in. Echo Baz, welcome to the stream. Lovely to have you here. Echo Baz says, "Hi Sophie, how's it going? Love your dress." Thank you so much. It's actually a two-piece. So actually, I get to split these up between outfits, which is quite fun. Oh my goodness, that was fucking silly. Nathleen, welcome to the stream. Nathleen says, hiya. Welcome to the stream. Lovely to have you here. Oh my goodness. Okay. We have one more thing to look at before we wrap up tonight. I am going to very quickly go and get myself another hot drink. I'm going to get myself a lovely hot Earl Grey tea. Please don't go anywhere. I'm going to have some, we're going to have some music on while we wait. Is this the one? That's not the one. All right, one sec. It's going to be a two-minute break because I've been streaming for nearly 4 hours now. My voice is quite worn out. Please, if you've been enjoying the stream, consider subscribing or cheering. We've hit the donor goal. You can still donate if you want to. This one looks good. Let's listen to that. All right. Okay. It's going to be 2 minutes, and then we're going to be back for the Tucker Carlson New York Times interview. Okay. Hi, hello, and hi, and hello, and hi, and hi, and hi, and hello, and welcome back, and hi, and hello. Hi, everyone. Sorry for getting delayed there. I got a little bit waylaid because of the council results for Southwark, which I think I showed earlier, but I was just discussing them. And we actually have no clear majority in Southwark now, which is quite cool. In our ward, we have the same people that we had before, but like we now in the council, we now have only slightly fewer green councillors, and like most of the change within our borough is Labour losing councillors and Green gaining councillors. So like if this change were to happen again, Southwark would be very clearly Green, which is very exciting. My goodness. My goodness. The woke Greens. Yeah, I'm just very excited about it. I'm just like really excited about all the places where Green has gained over Labour. I like it's the obvious bad news that everyone's going through today is that Reform has gained a lot. But I really like I can't be clear enough about this. I really think Reform have walked into a really like a trap here, like not set by anyone, but just like I guess like a pitfall or a just a naturally occurring kind of trap, basically. Like I think local government is going to be really, really, really bad for Reform, in the same way that like being in power in America has been really bad for the MAGA project. Like both times around, like Trump's popularity has like fallen through the floor so fast by being in power, because everyone's like, oh yeah, I hate this guy. I forgot I fucking hate this guy. Like all his ideas are bad and they suck. And it's like it's just exactly like that with Reform. I think that like them having as many government positions, like I know this could very easily sound like cope, so I'm really not trying to like cope about this, but genuinely like their policy platform is like incredibly scammy and based on just like a lot of dodgy dealing bullshit. And I think that like they're going to alienate a ton of their base by doing exactly what they do. And they're probably going to bankrupt a bunch of councils. And that's going to be bad for the people there. Like I feel bad for those people. I'm not trying to spread any kind of narrative of like comeuppance or justice or whatever, or just desserts. I always hate that shit when people talk like that. But I think that the good comeuppance is Reform itself. The British MAGA party are gonna lose a bunch of popularity from just being themselves in local government power. Nat says they want to get it in as a big rush, as big a rush as possible, so they don't need to be popular after that. Just grab as much stuff for them and their mates as possible. Get in, get out, grab the bag. That's what they are. Yeah, exactly. And this is what I've been saying since the start of Trump 2, is that like there is a very calculated move. Like rather than managed decline of empire, it's like strip all the fucking copper wiring out of the walls during the decline of during the collapse of empire. Like they know there's nothing they can do to actually make the empire powerful again, so instead it's entirely just about enriching themselves. And it's very obvious with Trump, and especially with Doge. Like they let Elon Musk be like the cine to their but it's very obvious there that they're just like, yeah, we're just going to completely destroy the American state and enrich ourselves. And it's fine for them that like that's going to be that they're so unpopular, because like they have no plans on on winning an election again. But reform don't have an end game that involves being in local councils but not in Westminster. Like their end game is very, very explicitly situated in number 10. And I think they don't realize it yet, but they're about to completely kneecap themselves and be unable to get there because of their success here. Victims of their own success. That's my prediction. I'm locking in. I'm locking that one in. You can hold on to that one. Meanwhile, Greens in local elections are going to like massively bolster. The Greens in local government are going to massively bolster the popularity of the Greens and, frankly, the popularity of wokeness. Okay. We have one more thing to look at. I've now been streaming for 4 hours, so although we have hit the donor goal, please remember to subscribe or cheer or donate if you are enjoying the stream. We've got one more thing to look at, and then I'm going to wrap things up for the night. We might look at this some more next time. I thought this fit in well with Kurzgesagt finding some space in their science communication, apparently, to defend fascism. And Jonathan Chait saying progressive activists are wrong, actually. Actually, the kids are wrong. It's the New York Times doing an interview with Tucker Carlson. What does Tucker Carlson really believe? I went to Maine to find out. And it's very long, so that's why I say, like, if it's interesting, we'll go back and we'll carry on next time. But I just, like, before we get into it, just, like, what does Tucker Carlson really believe? Why does it matter? This is always a thing. Like, this is a thing that liberal slop loves to do with, hey, Sleepy Bees and Lovely, welcome to the stream. It's really nice to have you here. This is a thing that liberals love to waste time on. Like, look at this shocking guy who says all this, like, shocking, evil, controversial, conservative, reactionary, bigoted stuff. What does he really believe? It's just like, it just doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter what he believes. It matters what he says. It matters what actions people are inspired to do because of his words. It matters what politics is becoming because of the influence of people like him. It doesn't matter if he believes it or not. And, like, we've just known for an incredibly long time that a ton of right-wingers don't believe it. Sometimes, but rarely, it does matter that someone is, like, a very committed reactionary. Like, if they have, like, particularly heinous views and they really deeply believe in the reactionary mission, that can matter. But just, like, you know. All right, let's get into it. Also, he's a Nepo baby. Tucker Carlson has been at the center of our political conversation and conservative media for a decade now. Few media figures are more closely identified with the Trump era. His hugely popular Fox News show started just after the 2016 election, and despite being fired by that network in 2023, Carlson has remained a Trump world fixture, launching his own network, boosting Donald Trump on his podcast, and at campaign rallies, sitting in Trump's box during the Republican National Convention and attending his inauguration. Then in February, President Trump made the call to attack Iran alongside Israel, a decision that Carlson is completely opposed to. He now says he regrets supporting Trump and has become a vocal and influential critic of the administration on his show. He also blames Israel for making Trump a slave by, as he categorizes it, pushing the president into war. Because of this focus on Israel and his high-profile interview of the white nationalist influencer Nick Fuentes, critics have accused him of anti-Semitism. That's crazy, dude. I was just reading a Jonathan Chait article about anti-Semitism. To understand this break with the president and more, I traveled to Maine to sit down with Carlson. Ah, this is a transcript. It's so long because it's a transcript of the article. Of the video. Okay. This makes it very different. Okay. Oh, fuck me, it's 2 hours. Chat, we're not doing this. Alright, sorry. Let's just get a taste of it. But I'm gonna say this is gonna be a next time thing. This is 2 hours long.
It's kind of dreamland. It's like smoking hash. You spend a day with Trump and sort of like you're in this kind of dreamland. It's like smoking hash or something. It's interesting. Very interesting.
I'm Lulu Garcia Navarro, and I'm in Maine to interview Tucker Carlson.
I mean, I've always agreed with Trump's policies.
Tucker Carlson.
Thanks for having me.
Very excited for you to be here.
Thank you.
In Maine, we should say. Any excuse to...
this stuff, like, look, I don't believe that like trans feminine perspectives give you this like perfectly revolutionary perspective on the world. I think there's a massively misguided a thing that a lot of like especially white trans women believe happens to them in transition, and it's like it's just a phase you need to get out of. But I do think that like there are certain things, and just like this particular form of liberal slop, where like the friendly liberal who believes in like open debate and like civil discussion of stuff goes and talks to a Nazi. It's just like, you're doing that because like you can be in a room with that guy, like, you know.
Come to Maine is always a good reason.
Most people don't come to this part of Maine, so I'm grateful that you did.
All parts of Maine are good parts. I wanted to sit down with you for a number of reasons. You've been at the center of conservative media, obviously, for a very long time. By extension, it's politics. And I want to get your perspective on this moment, on your evolution, your worldview.
Yeah, it's tea. It's an Earl Grey tea. Is this Earl Grey, actually? Yes, it's Earl Grey. Chat, we're gonna do 10 minutes of this. That's what I'm gonna do, because otherwise we're going into the next day, and also the next day is Abby's birthday. So I want to wrap up the stream very shortly.
You recently made quite a dramatic break with President Trump over the war in Iran, and so I'd love to hear about that. I want to start, though, in the lead up to the conflict. You said that you spoke to the president several times about the plan to attack Iran before it actually happened on February 28th. I'd love to hear a little bit about that. Was it just you and the president in those meetings? Can you just give me a sense of what was going on there?
Well, I've been speaking to him about Iran for 10 years.
Right.
Literally since 2016, maybe 15, because there was enormous pressure on him, as there has been on many presidents, to regime change Iran. And we know, based on our experience with a much smaller country, Iraq, that's a tall order, and it doesn't necessarily lead to a place you want to go, and it's not good for the United States. So anyway, and Trump knew that, and that was one of the main reasons actually, that I supported him during my time at Fox News and campaigned for him, and so it was really central to my views of Trump's candidacy and presidency. And so when it became clear in June that we were starting down this road toward a regime change war with Iran, I was just baffled.
They haven't started an invasion yet.
I was very upset, not because I have allegiance to Iran, but because I thought it would be terrible for the United States, as it has been. Worse even than I imagined. But I could see exactly where this was going, and he was under enormous pressure to do this, once again, as all presidents in my lifetime have been. So we talked a lot in June. He embarked on this effort to take out Iran's nuclear program, which was really just the opening salvo in a regime change effort. He knew that. I told him that. Charlie Kirk told him that. We did it. We got out. And then it became clear this winter in January that we were moving toward this thing that we're in now. And I was just absolutely panicked about it.
Did he explain to you why he wanted to take the country into war? I mean, I'm just trying to understand the dynamics of that conversation. What was he
Well, there were
saying?
multiple conversations.
Right.
I flew to Washington 3 times in the month before, 5 weeks, 6 weeks before, and met with him in the Oval Office alone, and people file in and out, with the White House Chief of Staff, the Secretary of State, et cetera. Had lunch with him on one of those occasions, and then I spoke to him by phone many times on this topic, and he would begin almost every conversation with, do you want Iran to have a nuclear weapon? To which I said, well, I'm sort of opposed to nuclear weapons. I don't want nuclear weapons. I don't want Israel to have a nuclear weapon. I don't want anyone to have a nuclear weapon. It doesn't seem like a good thing. But that's not the question. The question is, what do you do about it? And that was kind of the end of the rationale for doing this. He never seemed enthusiastic about it, ever. And I would say, well, here are the potential effects of this. Obviously, the geography of Iran being the most important fact of Iran. Iran is not a military power, it's an economic power. That was obvious because it controls the greatest span of coastline along the Persian Gulf, which is the source of a fifth of the world's energy, et cetera. All well known now and well known to him then. And he, I think, perfectly understood the consequences. But
Why was he taking your calls then? Because if he knew your position, and he understood the perils.
This is kind of interesting for the inside of you, like no doubt. It's just like the inside of you, however, shouldn't be from Tucker Carlson because he should never have been like involved in the U.S. government because he's a fucking like microwave dinner fortune inheritor TV show host.
I mean, was he trying to convince you to back the war?
no. He made no effort to convince me at all, other than to say it's going to be all right. Everything's going to be okay. And I just didn't feel that way. None of this, I should say, was about Trump or my relationship with Trump or my feelings about Trump or his hair color or anything like that. I just didn't want the United States to go to war with Iran. And my strong feeling by the end of those conversations, which was the last one was probably a week before it began, the war began, was...
Okay, so we've already got something a bit bizarre here. And as I say, we're not going to watch this just now. I'm gonna wrap up the stream in a second. In fact, I'm going to start winding it up now. So chat, if you've been enjoying the stream, please consider subscribing or sharing and donating directly. This is your last call to support the stream if you've been enjoying it. There's something interesting going on already, which is like they're already doing the like, what does he believe? We're just going to give him a friendly platform to talk about what he supposedly believes thing. And like, I don't like mean to be like massively pushing the like he doesn't believe anything, he's some kind of like sinister grifter nihilist whatever angle off the bat. I'm not trying to just be hyper cynical here, but at the same time, like there is a very obvious and profitable and very dedicated base in America of people who are very right-wing and suspicious of Israel. And like, you know why. You know who these people are. It's not a conscience thing. He already said like he's not, you know, it's not because he has any sympathy for Iran. It's just like since Charlie Kirk died, it's been like this growing split in MAGA and in the American conservative movement between people who continue to support Trump as Trump supports Israel, and people who are like Carlson is, like having Nick Fuentes on the show and chatting with him about what he believes and what quirky things he has to say. Yeah, I just like... Okay, we will watch more of that, I think. I'm going to have a little bit of watch it on my own time. If it really isn't offering much and there's lots more slop to look at next time, we won't see it again, but like I'll probably come back around to it. Okay, we're going to raid into my friend Nicotine. She is a trans woman and a streamer, and what is she doing right now? She is playing Star Wars. So we're going to go and /raid Nicotine. Okay, and now chat, we do the thing that we do at the end of every stream, which is we make our favorite animal noises. Rah rah. As we go on the raid. So we're going to raid Nicotine. Let's get that loaded up. Okay, and I need you all to be making your favorite animal noises as you go into the chat. I need you to go say hi to Nicotine, be nice to Nicotine, and make all the animal noises in her chat so that we're known as the most militantly furry chat fandom on Twitch. Okay, good night, everyone. It's been lovely. I'll see you all on Red Planet on Sunday, twitch.tv/Red Planet Live. Check it out. We're going to be chatting about digital surveillance and Palantir and all that scary, scary stuff. Okay, let me see your animal noises in chat. I'm seeing them. It's good. Apple chips, is the animal you're doing Keir Starmer? Okay. Good night, everyone. Bye.